Well, jeepers! You're listening to Smash or Pass with JayBee, Milly, and Smash!
So today's episode we are going to be taking a look at the Scooby Doo movie Camp Scare. So if you've not seen this one for a little while, or like me, you've not seen it before, which I actually can't believe after watching it because it does seem kind of one of the more main ones, I feel. Anyway, the kind of plot behind this is that we're getting a bit more of Fred's backstory. They're going to the camp where he went as a child and he's going back as a counsellor, and of course with the cold opening we start to see that there's going to be some kind of villain, some kind of monster. But regardless of anything, Fred won't let anything stop camp happening that year, so he kind of takes over the place and tries to run his own summer camp almost, I feel. But then we get the standard kind of villains that like absolute part and parcel with Scooby-Doo, and that is we have there's the Woodsman, the Fishman, and the Spectre that end up turning up along the way.
Not the Spectre, man. Which
is a case of, again, is it going to be unmasking? Is it going to be like the real people, this kind of the truth behind these the campfire stories and stuff? So yeah, I feel like it's quite interesting because we have seen like some kind of Legends era before, and certainly like with campfire stories you always feel like there's got to be some kind of origin for them and stuff, so it's a good angle that they look at.
Yeah, I really like that, and I guess right off the start of things, I'm very curious about this because, and this is something that I especially wanted to ask Smash. So I wanted to ask if you had any experience going to like a summer camp or anything, because for the whole time that Millie and I were watching this, and maybe it's just because like we didn't have normal upbringings and stuff, but it was kind of like, oh, we kind of associate going off to like summer camp and stuff as a very American thing.
Yeah, like I think it's fair to say that right from the start when we were watching this, I was like kind of thinking of like Daddy Day Camp, Camp Rock, and even like Cheaper
like
by the Dozen, where there's like the lake in the middle and two like houses either side.
I was actually thinking Daddy Day Camp so much throughout this.
But again, all those are like American movies, yeah. Right? So is that a thing?
Yeah. Kind of. I never necessarily went to like an exact summer camp, but with the like religion that I grew up in, that we did a lot of different camps over the summer. That's kind of like this, but it was more like we would go camping and then like instead of doing, sometimes we would do activities, but most of the time we would do these camping trips where we go and do service. And so like one that we did that's very prominent for me was we went and built like an entire fence for this farmer's land and whatever. And so like during the day we were building the fence and whatever, and then at night it was the classic sitting around the campfire and whatever. And that is the time that I heard the most prominent ghost story, and it has stuck with me ever since. And so whenever I watch this movie, I think of that camp story that I heard. I'm like, ooh, if anybody ever made a movie of this camp story, I don't love horror in a way, but I want to see this story as a movie. It's this kind of has nothing to do with anything, but it was called The Green Mist, and long story short, it was about this person that kind of their car broke down, and so they go to like the only house that they see down this road, and there's like this beautiful woman who's like, oh yes, please come stay, I'm so sorry, blah blah blah. And then she walks away, and then an old lady comes out and is like, oh, I heard someone knocking and whatever, like, let me show you to your room, blah blah blah. I believe there was actually two people. I believe two people went, and then they kind of go upstairs and they're like going to sleep, and there's like this weird green haze that they see, and they're just kind of like wonder what the heck is going on with that, whatever. Anyway, and then one of the guys like wakes up in the night and sees more of the green haze and kind of goes out and follows, and they go out to like the barn yard thing, outside, and see the other guys he had been skinned basically, and his the skin was just hanging and he's like, what the flip did I, like, what happened to my friend? He was just like, you know, bare skinned. So he's like running away, you know, down the road and whatever, and he's like trying to get attention from cars passing by. And yeah, I'm doing the very, very bare minimum story of this. Like, there's so many details I'm dropping, but basically, finally a car pulls over to pick him up, and, you know, he just gets in and is like, oh my gosh, thank you, and whatever, and looks up into the, like, rear view mirror, and the old lady that was in the house is in the car, and basically dies right in that moment, and the story ends. And that story has never left my brain, and I want it a movie now.
Holy heck. I want to write a fanfic about that. So, was the young lady the old lady's daughter, or were they
were the same person.
Oh, that's mad. It's mad what makeup can do to you, isn't it? That's crazy. That's a flipping, eh? That's like a cautionary tale against clickbait, or what's the word?
Yeah,
for, like,
right?
catfishing. That's mad. That's so scary though. I'd love to see that as like a movie. Although then again, I don't really like horror either. So I mean, there's some horror, like Stephen King, anything Stephen King or something. But
we don't like horror, but we went through a stage where we just watched a lot of it. Like, we'd go to the cinema and we'd have to turn away for about half the movie.
It's a horrific movie.
Like, there'd literally be times when I'd literally just be sat, like, looking to the left with my hand over my eyes, like, blocking the screen. It's just like, what did we come into here for again? Like, why did we do this?
The whole time. Oh my gosh. But I like hearing that, because, again, literally, we've... Oh, I mean, Millie, have you had any experience camping or anything like that?
Not really camping, because I don't know, I think it's like, it's just presumed the weather's always going to be too bad in the UK to do that kind of stuff. The only thing that I did do is, I feel like when I was maybe about 7 or 8, I went to this kind of group thing with like, I think the English version is called Guides.
Oh, like the scouts.
Yeah, I think in America it would be like along the lines of scouts, and we had to do this thing where we stayed like at this old hall overnight, and I feel like because it was just kind of a given that from watching movies and stuff, you told like scary stories and stuff, like just like in the room at night. And so I kind of remember someone trying to tell like
scary stories in the dark.
Like, I remember some like girls trying to tell like stories and stuff, and then like the like people in charge of it were just like walking in the room like, go to bed.
Aww.
I actually got banned from the group after that trip because I was really young, but like I was also like really like independent, and they were trying to do like this organized walk thing where you had to like cross a stream, and for health and safety they were just kind of taking ages to kind of choose the best path. So I ended up ignoring like the camp leaders and like just walked straight across the river without their guidance, and they went mad. So that was actually like the only time I ever went there.
That's crazy.
No, I just remember.
Imagine you doing that.
Yeah.
It's like grumpy going.
You've already mad. I was 8. Like, you've seen videos of me trying to argue with my parents when I was 6. This was me when I was 8. There was like these two like, you know, like organizers of the group, just like, oh, we need to work out the best way across, and they like walked backwards and forwards about 10 times. I was just like, no, this has got a bit insane now. I'm not standing here any longer. Just walked across.
Yeah, the revolution has begun.
They called my parents to come and pick me up.
Aww. That's so sweet. Did they tell you off?
No.
Oh,
That was fun. My behaviour quite funny.
that's actually really sweet. I love that.
So, what about you, JayBee? What have you been camping?
Are you serious? You know that my only experience in a tent is I went on this thing called Duke of Edinburgh, and no word of a lie, like first night in the tent, I had like this brain aneurysm that I think it was laying dormant in my head, and it literally exploded that night, and I had to be rushed to the hospital the next morning. That's my only single experience in any type of camping Zeddy.
So I guess we're not the best examples.
Ridiculous. I can't believe you're
Smash was there doing great things,
Yeah,
like helping
the
people,
community,
and I was
building
like getting
fences.
kicked out of camp, and you were getting moved to
I
hospital.
was just absolutely there. But the woman that was calling my parents to tell them to come and pick me
gosh,
up, she gave them grid references as a way to locate us. Like, oh, your son is rolling about on the floor in searing agony, vomiting. Can you please pick him up at northwest 0.567 degrees and longitude 9? And my dad was like, what are you doing? Just tell me where you are. I need to put it into a sat-nav.
I love it when your mum tells that story though, because she does make it sound like your dad got so angry. But like, your dad's the type of person, like his dad's like a doctor. He's got the most like just practical thinking mind that like if you try and confuse it, like, okay, this is something like a bit abstract, like here's a map, you need to follow these references. It's just like, no, we're not doing that. You know, let's get this sorted quite easily. Literally, there's got to be a location. Tell me the location. And she was just like, well, you know, all we've been given to work with is this. And he's like, no, someone's got to know where you are.
Poor JB.
Oh no. Despite that though, I am ready to be hurt again. I would go camping again, and I was just thinking, like, and I've said this quite a few times, at some point, maybe like a year down the line or whatever, like when there's more of like a budget or something and more of a clear idea of what's going on, I'd love to do like a challenge series where we try and like do one thing that's like kind of related to a Scooby movie. And like, I'm just thinking, oh, I'd love to try like one of those Survivor Man things where like we just try and rough it in a tent for like a week or so.
The camping thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's some that would be funny, like, and easy as well, like ones where they just have like hot chilies and stuff.
We could all
Like
do
for
that.
Zombie Island, when there's the chili thing, you can just
Yeah, we're just chilling.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is Ghost, we just accuse an elderly relative of horrific crimes.
Let's go find a
first
spell
live
book.
action can be an eggplant burger. You can try making one of those.
I mean, there's many. Okay, I'm not going to say what's
We're
in my
not at that
mind. Yeah, I'm not
meeting
saying
yet,
what's in my mind. Okay.
You don't make it to
Yeah,
that
I
movie.
don't say that. Well, you know, I legit think I might have to sit out, but that's a different story.
AJ.
We actually haven't started this movie yet, have we?
Well, I'm just.
Nope.
I'm happy, right?
I like this. There's already been a lot of good stories. And
No, there's been hella stories, and I'm gonna go camping again, and I think we should all do it together. We should probably
Let's
go
do
to
it.
America. I don't know. Oh, wait, maybe not America.
Come here.
You guys have
Yeah,
loads of
well-
snakes.
Well, no, come here and we'll go, because there's a national park like right in my backyard. It's called Zion National Park. Let's go there. We can camp and just like you can see the stars beyond stars. It's not that far from where I am. It's like a 20-minute drive. Let's start out there. Let's start there, and then we can try something.
Yeah, that'd be grand. Oh my gosh, for Alien Invaders, we could go to like Area 51 or something.
Yeah, I'm not that far from it. It's not that far of a drive. Let's go.
Oh, one day we're doing all of these.
yeah, just like Smash Your Pass is finished. We've got through all the movies. And where does it go from
It'll be the
here?
most inconsistent thing in the world, because one week we'll be like going to like Scotland looking for the Loch Ness Monster. The next week we'll just be trying like a do your own magic kit.
Oh
Like,
gosh, yeah, like we have a trip with work to Scotland soon, and JB was literally like, "Okay, well that's here. Where's the Loch Ness?" Like,
Yeah, true.
The trip's on a Friday, and he was like, "Okay, great. We'll stay up there for the weekend. I want to see the Loch Ness Monster. Where is it?"
We were all excited, like, I've got great news for you, JB. It looks like if we plan it like this, and I went into great detail about our schedule, we can make it to like Loch Lowland or something, whatever you call it. The Loch Lowland. Who goes to Scotland to see Loch Lowland?
Loch Ness was like very north.
Not Loch Ness is the Big Daddy though. I don't think I could go to Scotland and not see the Big Daddy. But I guess we should get on to Camp Scare. But for those of you listening, if this is your first episode, for one, I don't know why you started at Camp Scare, but fair enough. It's a review, people. You know, I mean, you don't need to
They're
listen
excited
to
for
it
this
in order.
movie.
It's hype, and this is a great movie. Well, from my
Like,
point of view. at the
we've had
moment. So
people,
welcome.
Yeah, we've had
This is
people
us.
commenting that they want the review of this movie, and like, so they've come into the premiere so ready, and we're at like 15 minutes, and we're like, "This is when we went camping. Milly got kicked out of camp. JB did this." It's like, we want the movie.
Okay, but if they haven't listened to episodes yet, trust me. If we have stories, this is how you know it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah,
You
and they'll be gagging for it as well, because literally
building suspense, talking about camp.
it's like
Yeah, true.
keep them waiting, dangle it in front of them and see how hungry they get, and then give it to them.
You do have amazing ways of saying things, JB. You're unlike anybody I've ever met before, I can tell you that.
Is that good or bad?
Take it how you will.
Yeah. So this one was another cold opening.
I mean, it was a creepy cold opening. Well,
I love this cold opening.
It was so good, but I feel it's very cliche camp stuff, because I feel like there's nothing to do with a camp in any movie or TV show that doesn't have this kind of around the fire thing. But that's probably quite a normal camp thing, to be fair. Like, I don't know what else I'd prefer them to have been doing, but such a great setting. And the animation, I just love the darkness of it. The fire looks stunning.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I
mean, you see the campfire, they're around it telling the story, and I think if you have any form of nostalgia for like campfire, like summer camp movies, like we were listing a few at the start, if you have nostalgia for anything like this, regardless of if you like Scooby Doo or follow Scooby Doo, I feel like you're instantly there with this movie.
Yeah. I agree.
Because for all I love Scooby Doo, like, and that was a good part of why I was engaged so early with the movie, there was another, like, part of it where it's just like, okay, there have been all these movies about people going to camp that I've absolutely loved. This is amazing. This is just the next one in that list as well.
Yeah, lots of things. And I feel like we're watching this at the right time as well. For we've not really had a great summer here in the UK. It is summertime, and so, like, getting into this vibe is just really nice. Like, maybe it's why I disconnected a bit more from the setting of Chill Out, because that's when it was good weather here in the UK. And then just
and all we wanted was
about all this grey stuff happening. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't like this. But I'm in the mood. This is a bit like Aloha in many ways. I just feel like it's uplifting in its setting. But it's that typical thing that happens. They're talking about this particular monster in the campfire story, and then lo and behold, it appears, but not really, because it's just one of the camp counselors being a bit kooky.
I'm gonna say that's some pretty negligent counselling there. Like,
it happens all the time.
You send your kids away to camp, they're gonna be looked after.
From Diary of a Wimpy Kid or something.
But like, if you're sending your children away to camp, you're like paying for them to go there. You're like, oh, it's okay. They're gonna be looked after. It's gonna be fine. And then, like, one of them's dressing up in costumes to scare them.
Imagine that, though. That just happens at, like, some yobby camp there, and the counsellor just, like, comes out in a suit, and one of the kids just bottles them. I mean, there must be a risk of that, right? Because some people's reflexes are to just, like, thump something that scares them.
I mean, I kind of want to, like, to say this story now. So, JB's always said that, like, and he says this a lot on the channel, like, Milly knows Dracula. Where I'm from is where, like, Bram Stoker was when he actually wrote Dracula, and there's, like, a ghost walk around the town where they talk about locations and stuff that were in Dracula and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, there's like one kind of almost like, it's not like a theme park, it's a building, kind of like a bit of a haunted house or something, that's, like, dedicated to Dracula. It's called Dracula Experience. And there was somebody in the year above me at school that worked there, and he dressed up as one of the kind of, like, threats of the house. And he did get, like, punched in the face because he jumped out at somebody, because it was his job. Like, he was there to scare people. It was the Dracula Experience. So he jumped out, and I think it was a grown man that had taken his, like, child and his wife in there, just hit him. And he was only 17 at the time. It was like his summer job, and this man just hit him.
Just
completely reflex. Like, not like, it wasn't like angry that he'd been scared of you. It was just like reflex, and yeah.
That's actually ridiculous. But the reveal of the Woodsman is so
they are
daunting.
terrifying.
I reckon they're the creepiest thing that we've seen on this since Zombie Island, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what always makes them scarier is when there's a real threat. Like, we see the fire and stuff instantly. Yeah. And we know how much, like, you know, fire is, like, a huge,
but
like...
It also freaks me out when they're humanoid, that type of thing. Like, when they're, like, a person almost. Like, it's not just like a curse of the Loch Ness Monster, because that's scary, obviously. But this is, for all purposes, a deranged human being that passed away and then came back to to continue that. And so it's like, for all it isn't a real entity as such, you could just imagine like all like the horrible stories you hear on the news and stuff. Like if there is an afterlife, there's so many messed up people that could come back and like cause some genuine damage. And that's why just hearing the Woodsman laughing and just seeing that they're distinctly a person is just like, no, I don't like
I don't know why, but you know, like when we first see them with like the green face and the suit and stuff, I get like creeper vibes from them.
Yeah,
just for a split second when I first saw them, that was like the first thing that entered my head.
They are a bit, aren't they?
But then it was like, I don't know, creepers kind of like moves quite slowly, and it's kind of like, okay, if you run fast enough, you can get away from that.
Well,
whereas this
like
one for
in the
me,
original show, aren't they?
I don't know. I feel like when I always see them, they always look a bit like, I don't know, just the way they speak, like creeper. It just seems really kind of slow, and it's just like, okay, yeah, if you're quick enough, you can maybe get away from this. Whereas with this one, I feel like they set themselves as a threat quite quickly, like axe throwing, fire. It's like, oh gosh.
Yeah, like these kids.
This one's not messing around.
They all handled it. So if I had seen it, even today, like if I popped down to the shops tonight just for like a soda or something, and I saw that, I'd legitimately have an accident in my pants.
Oh God.
Like I could not. I'd turn white and I'd fall on the floor. Like it's so scary, and I can't really say that for anything other than the cat creatures and the zombies. Maybe.
I don't know what it is with side stories today, but you saying that reminds me of the time when I can't remember if we've told this story on a Smash or Pass before.
Probably.
But I'd like we were in our like sitting room area watching a movie, and I'd fallen asleep, and JayBee had got up to go to the toilet, and as he walked out to go to the toilet, he saw this figure walking past the window. And it was just like a white grey figure. It looked so much like a ghost. And he ran back in here, kind of woke me up and was like, I think I need your help with something. No, he's like, I need your help with something. And I was like, okay. And he's like, oh wait, I think I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. You go back to sleep. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And he was like he like tried to like lift the camera up and like record to see what was happening, and it was just this grey white figure walking backwards and forwards. And I was like, what's going on? Like, this does look like a ghost. If we've not talked about this before, I'll get him to send you some footage of this afterwards, because it's scary.
Okay, yeah.
And in the end, he like woke his parents up, and they were like, "Oh, it's just the old lady from next door. She's really not well. You need to take her home." And he was like, yeah, and he was like, well, you want me to go out there and take her home? Can't one of you two do, like, I'm a bit scared.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're fine. Like, we don't want to like have to start like getting out of bed and stuff. You can go, because this was like 1 a.m. And he got round to her house, and she was like, there's somebody in the house, and he was like, oh my gosh. Are you sure? Oh. And she was like, yeah, look, the window's broken. And when he looked, there was a chip out of one of the windows. And she was like, they must have broken in. And he was like, oh no. And she was like, you need to come in with me. You have to come and see what's happened. Like, you can't leave me on my own. And she was about like 85, and you'd gone to school with her granddaughter and stuff. So you were like, okay, I'm gonna see what I can do, and like walked in.
You're making it sound like I was using
and
it.
And then as soon as they got into the house, she disappeared upstairs to go to bed. Like, she didn't say goodnight or anything. She just walked off and left you there. And then this man came charging up the stairs, because it's like you go in on like the middle floor. So this man came like charging up the stairs. And you were like, and kind of want to leave, and he was like, no, it's okay. And it turned out that he was living with her to kind of help her because she wasn't very well. But it was just a bit of a mad night. And so I think the main thing that I was getting at there was just how scary it looked. Like, it did look like a ghost. It was just this like almost ominous white figure just going backwards and forwards. It was really strange.
It's like Smash's story, except I didn't even have a young lady to lure me in. I just had the old hag from the get-go. Like, I had my parents shouting at me to go there. I was like, no, leave me alone. But I did it.
You know, it's so weird. Like, I don't talk about it much, but like, I have so many ghost experiences. Like, I mean, just a few examples. There was one time before I moved to where I am now. One night I like went upstairs because my room was on the second floor, and I like went upstairs and in my old, it used to be my sister's room, and then she moved out and whatever. But and like standing in the doorway there was like this white figure of this man, and I was just like, what the flip? That's kind of a small example. There was one time, a little more nicer experience. I knew my great grandma before she passed away on my mom's side. That's a really interesting story. Long story short there. My last open heart surgery, I was really, really struggling at one point, like bleeding to death basically. And in that moment, my great grandma passed away. And like, it's so weird how the times match, because as soon as she passed away, I like got better and wasn't suddenly dying. And then when I was able to go home after all that, and while I was recovering, we have a piano at my parents' house. We've had it for years, and I was home alone and I heard the piano playing, and I was like, that's not an automatic piano, that's weird. And I go downstairs and I like see my great grandma playing the piano, and she basically like was sitting on the bench and asked me to come sit next to her, and I did, and just listened. And some people aren't going to believe those stories, but I have so many stories like that. I swear, I just draw spirits to me.
I think like some people do it. I think in a way I feel like I'm lucky that I don't, because I'm quite a scared person. Like, regardless of who it was, like the story that you were saying there was just so beautiful. But if I was in that position, I'd be screaming. Like, even if I knew the person, I'd be like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to leave the house. I just wouldn't be able to engage with what was happening in the same way.
I mean, I scream at my relatives when I have to see them when they're alive, so if it was the other way around, I'd be pretty distressed. But that is such a beautiful story, though, just like the idea that they could, I don't know, pass on to the next point of existence to like help you out and stuff. It's so comforting to like know that it can, like for all ghosts, like I love watching this channel, Nuke's Top 5s, and on there you kind of get a vibe where it's all kind of a bit doom and gloom, they just appear to cause havoc, but knowing that it could be a comfort is just so good. And it's like, one day I'd love to do that. I'd just love to be a cool ghost.
See, you don't really remember it, but your mum tells stories about how when your grandma died, that you like communicated to your mum that she'd said something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've got very little memory of my early childhood. All I remember is trying to make an ant farm.
Like, I do think there's a thing where like children can be more in touch sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you're too young to remember it, but your mum's got stories about like how your grandma had said something. Like I think your mum had been crying one Christmas or something, and you were like, she says you need to stop doing that.
But it scares me though, because I like you said, I am naturally a scared person. So say we leave it a few months, a few weeks, a few years and stuff, and we get a kid or something, okay, and it grows up for a few years, and it says some creepy stuff, like I'm just there, like you're at work doing like grown-up stuff and I'm playing Lego with the baby.
Yeah.
It's just like, Daddy, you shouldn't do that because the man that visits at night says that it's a bad thing and he'll hurt you if it happens. And I'm not the type that would go, oh, don't be silly, it's just a dream you've had. I would legitimately grab the kid, like hop on a boat and just like drive all the way to like Miami or something.
Yeah, like I'd be getting a call from him like, we're on our way, we need to leave.
Yeah, like everything is boarded up, just stop it.
But like,
Burn the house and run.
They were all like positive experiences. Like my nephew like went through a stage where they were living in a house, and I'm 100% sure that he doesn't watch this channel, because I feel like I can talk about this, because
he
doesn't actually remember.
The Scooby channel. He wouldn't. Maybe he'd watch some of our like home circus stuff.
Like it's a thing that he just genuinely doesn't have any memory of this. It's completely blocked. But when he was about 3, they lived in this house. It was quite old. And the kitchen was tiny. There literally was only room for one person. And he kept saying that there was a man on the floor. And everyone was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And like, I know, like, you know, like how some people have like just quite short necks. It looks like it almost goes from the shoulder straight to the head. He could explain that this person didn't have a throat. And at 3, it's like, how do you know that word? Like, it's just so weird. How do you know that? And then in the same house, he was like, I can't go to sleep. I won't sleep in my room. The clock throws things at me, and there's a shelf just below where the clock was. And he said that stuff kept falling off that shelf, and it was like it was been thrown at him, and stuff did keep coming off that shelf. It was really, really strange. And I'd gone up to his room to get a game with him one day, and something did fall off the shelf and it went all the way across the room. It was so, so strange. And then one day my mum was literally like, okay, look, we're going to physically pick this ghost up and take it out into... There was like a little courtyard at the back that they didn't use. And she was like, we're just going to pick it up, we're going to take it out, and it's done. You won't ever need to see it again. So they did that. And when he was at school one day, my sister had unlocked the back door to go and like... to put the bins out or something, and he didn't know because he'd been at school that the door had been opened. As soon as he got back, he was like, he's there again, what happened? And he didn't even know that door had been opened. It was so, so strange. So my sister got it, just was like, we can't live here anymore. This is really, really weird. Like, we need to get a new house straight away because like that's just odd. And then like just like say 6 or 7 years later, we were all a bit curious just to see if he did remember anything. So we started talking about when they lived there, and we're like, oh, do you remember living there? And he was like, yeah, it was nice, it's good. And he just didn't have any of the negatives to say, and it was like, okay, so you really like it then, yeah? And he was like, yeah, it's great. Then his friend moved into the same house 2 years later, and his mum and my nephew had been invited around to dinner, and we're all a bit like, oh gosh, what's going to happen if he goes back in the house? So he went back into the house, he went all the way around it, and nothing. Like, he didn't get any memories, he didn't get any triggers or anything. It was so, so strange, but like, at the time it had been so clear to him, his language had changed into stuff that he wouldn't know. It was just so, so strange.
It's mad. Like, I firmly believe in ghosts, spirits and stuff. But I do have a bit of like a Velma side as well, where I'm convinced that like things have some more meaning. Like, obviously, I think what I mentioned before with the brain aneurysm and stuff, that was a long-standing thing. I've had like migraines for years and years on the build-up to that. So I'm kind of like, maybe I just hallucinated a load of stuff when like it was in a bad place because it was all like neurological and stuff. And like, if you want me to edit this out, Millie, I will. But I think with your, what is it, your nephew?
Yeah, my nephew.
He was like diagnosed with diabetes later on, and I think
later in
part
life.
of that is if you don't have enough of something, that can affect your mindset a bit. So.
I'd agree with some of what you're saying, but then there was this weird like future aspect, okay?
Oh wow.
So while he was living in that house, he turned around to, I think there was me, my mum and my sister there at the time, and he just randomly said, again at 3 years old, in my last life I was a dog and I got run over. And it was like, this is just so strange. This is really, really strange. Like, you're 3. Where on earth is this coming from? This is just scary at this point. And then the next week, he saw a dog at the opposite side of the road. He was in town with his mum. He saw a dog at the opposite side of the road, and he let go of his mum's hand to run and like stroke the dog. And granted, it was a really slow road. It was literally just like the edge of his foot that got run over. But within a week, there was the link of a dog and been run over. It was just so, so strange. And that was all just been in this house, and as soon as he left, he's got no memory of any of it. It's so weird.
You've got a very chill family. If I'd ran into the road, I think I would have been slapped.
Well, I think his mum was a bit more panicked of getting him an ambulance because he was very young, and literally like he just saw the dog, let go of her hand and walked away. Like, literally split second. It was... Oh, gosh. No, that's freaky. Yeah, it was really weird. But look, my auntie, like, worked at the library. She was, like, the manager at the library. So she had access to, like, old records and stuff. So she researched the house. And there was, like, a I don't want to go into detail on child, but like, there was a bad man that had lived there, like some time ago, and like
very bad man.
Yeah, like something had happened to his wife and stuff, and yeah, it was just like
So
they got out of that house, and it's so weird. He's been fine ever since, and he went back there, and he was like, you'd never have known.
Good lord. We've gone madly off topic, but I'd actually like some
I
feedback.
don't know what's happened with it.
I'd like some feedback in the comment section about this, because I feel like a part of it is because obviously we had last week off, and we're very lonely people. We don't have a lot of human interactions, so it's like we like have like this pent up need to like be social, and then now it's all like opened up like the floodgates, which is foreshadowing the movie. So we're kind of getting back on track. But it opens up the floodgates, and now we're just talking about nonsense. But I'd like to think that maybe people that missed us having original recordings last week are a bit like, oh, it better be a good long episode this week to like make up for it. And I'm like, I don't know.
You've got half an hour of backstories already. Like,
wait, is it half an hour?
Yeah, we're at 35 minutes.
Holy. Oh. Let's get on to.
So.
Wait, are we literally just talking about the opening titles?
The end of the cold opening. We're now on to the titles.
Oh lord.
So I like the art. I have mixed feelings about the art style. I think it's quite light-hearted. It's bright. I don't think I could watch a full movie in that art style. Like, that was one of my things. I also really like the song, but at the same time, I don't fit the song with the titles. Like, the titles get dark. But that song all the way through is just so upbeat. Like, it's almost like I want a montage. If it's about summer camp, I want a montage where they're like diving in the water or into the pool or on a boat, and like a bit like the one that comes on later. That's the kind of song that I would put with the montage like that, as opposed to titles where like ghouls and monsters and stuff start popping up. And how do you feel about the title smash?
I think they're fun. Just for me, it always kind of bugged me because it's like they went pretty dark in tone and atmosphere with this movie. And like, the transition is like the freaking woodsman like throwing his axe at the counselor, and then it just jumps into this like groovy song, and you're like, excuse me? No, we can't jam. I'm terrified for that man now.
Yeah, I completely see what you're saying. JayBee, do you have anything on the title?
I kind of agree in hindsight, because it reminds me so much of this show called Death in Paradise, and it's all kind of summary, right?
Oh,
so
gosh.
It makes sense, but like it always starts with a cold open, and there's some like horrific death, and it goes from that death to like the opening titles, which is like you can't help but like jam to it, but then you're kind of feeling like, oh well, we've just seen someone get killed, should we really be having a little party now? Like, especially there's literally an episode where the death that they're investigating is like one of the main characters that just gets killed off out of nowhere, and they still play the song, and it's so out of place. And I kind of get that here as well. For all we don't get like a death at the start of it, it is very much they build tension, and now we're kind of all having fun again. But
then coming back from that, I feel like it gets dark quite quickly. Like, I mean, it doesn't. But like, to cut the sandwich, they use an axe, which we've just seen an axe been thrown, and that in itself is just a bit like, okay,
implicit.
Is this necessary? And then Velma comes in the costume, and you're just like, oh my gosh, did we get a break here? Because quite often, like, we'll see the cold opening, it'll be really scary, and then you just see the mystery machine along a country road, and it's all light-hearted. And they're just coming straight into this with axes, these shadows coming out of the woods, and it's just like, oh my gosh, we don't get a break here with this, do we? It's gonna be quite consistent.
But it's all right. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the tonal switch. It is what it is. I think here's the thing. I don't understand why they need to open it like that. Like, I didn't mind it, but it's like you're going to a camp anyway. Why don't you use this setting where you're in a shop to maybe have some of Fred's backstory? Because
shop thing I like.
Fred's a Fred-based movie. It's like the first Fred-based movie since Pirates Ahoy, right? And it's nice when they do that type of stuff, but I feel like they could have done a bit more with Fred, because I go on to kind of say later that the dynamic of all the kids I really like, but I just don't feel like the happy ending, you know, the happiness where it's like, oh, we're all Team Little Moose now, we all love it here, is really deserved. And probably wouldn't have saved so much time just taking out this open and just fast tracking to like buying things at the shop, or maybe even going on their way to the camp initially would have solved that. I just feel like they've not really used their time too effectively.
I guess two things that I want to kind of pick up on that you were saying then. The first one was about that intro bin in the store. I really like that. I don't know, and I guess JB doesn't really like it when I mention movies that have much more than a PG rating, but have you ever seen the movie Grown Ups with Adam Sandler?
Yes.
There's that kind of scene there where they're like, where it looks like they're camping and then they just turn out to be in a store as well.
Yeah.
So as soon as I saw this, I was like, okay, I like that. I appreciate that. That's good. I don't know. I did quite like the in the store thing because you did get the vibe that they were like, I don't know. I just really like how it was. It seemed just like a playful thing. It wasn't. It was almost like a. It was just a nod. Like, we aren't rushing this movie. There's gonna be some fun here.
Yeah, it reminded me
because if they'd wanted to rush it, they'd have already been on the way to camp.
Drive, yeah.
So
it reminds me of Cabin in the Woods a bit. Like, now that you've mentioned a bit of like a more mature age rating movie, just because like the characters in that fit in with like the Scooby Gang like quite accurately to some degree, but just the fact that they're like on this stopgap where there's like a creepy person that's like saying creepy things on, the shopkeeper just reminded me so much of Lester. It was really funny, like,
Yeah.
and he says something at one point. It's like a question, and he does this same accent and expression the exact same way that Lester says, "Did they experiment on you?"
Yeah. He's like, you want to hear some?
Yeah, like, you want to hear a story? It's like, did they experiment on you? Oh my god.
I guess the other thing you mentioned as well about this movie being about Fred, that's one thing that I kind of don't like. Like,
Oh no.
you know, when it's like, this is Fred's backstory, I'm a bit like, I don't understand. Where's the rest of them?
To be
Because
fair,
I guess,
though,
like, in my head, it's like we see different stories about, like, what age it was when they first met and all this kind of thing. But I guess in my head, it's kind of like, I don't know, from day one, it was just all of them together. So when he's like, oh yeah, this is where I spent all my summers, it's like, no, you didn't. You were with them.
well, my head
You were with
canon,
them. Don't pretend you weren't. Like, don't lie to us.
my headcanon went into such a dark place at one point with this movie, though, because I'm thinking that obviously there's the What's New era, that's its own thing, and this era, it has some tonal consistencies with Mystery Incorporated, and obviously the explanation song, this is where they first start to use that, and I'm kind of thinking, if Fred had such an absent, like, dad in Mystery Incorporated, could that be why he's doing, like, the kind of handshake thing that he did with his dad in What's New with this camp counselor, because maybe he just didn't feel accepted or at home in Crystal Cove, so
he was sent
he escaped to summer camp, and it's where his father figure is this camp counselor, and that's why he clung on to Little Moose so much, because that was kind of his safe space away from Crystal Cove. And I'm kind of like, oh, this is kind of sad. I'm on Fred's side now. Can we just hug him? It's like, ugh. I mean, that's probably not it, but like, that's what I kind of went with it.
Okay, so just from what we've gotten from in the movies and like future movies that we haven't covered yet and stuff, I pick up on that for the most part. At least sometime during the summer, they always go their own ways at one point, because in Curse of the 13th Ghost, which was the follow-up to the 13 Ghosts series, which didn't have Fred and Velma, they explain in that movie where Fred was, and why he wasn't with Daphne, Shaggy, and Scooby, and he was at another camp during that summer that they were trying to capture the 13 Ghosts. And so I'm like, every summer I just am starting to believe that this kid goes to camps.
That makes sense. And I guess it's good that they are almost separate sometimes, because it just shows their age, really. I'm sure maybe in other circumstances they would be spending more time together, but that's kind of cool, and it gives us an explanation for this as well.
And at this point in the movie, like, I've just put in my notes that I like the sound of the movie. I like all the voices and things. Just as they were getting ready to like arrive at the camp, my head was just a nice place with the voices and things.
I think this is my favourite voice cast, really, like all of them together, like this combination of people.
I was actually looking at like the voices when we were talking about it a little earlier. But just something random to note is that all three of the monsters, the Woodsman, the Fishman, and the Spectre, is all voiced by the same guy.
Oh, really?
That's good.
Again, I just cannot admire voice like actors and actresses enough, because some of them can do some crazy things.
I don't know why I'm such a child about this, but like, that always surprises me though, that like it's not the person that is unmasked that does the voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that surprises me so much. But I think I first realised it when JayBee was talking about how...
Oh, yeah, the evil mask figure.
Yeah, the evil mask figure is like, oh yeah, so this was the voice for this. And I was like, no, it's not. They're not in the movie. We don't see them.
There's technically 3 actors for the same person.
They voiced them. You're wrong. You have to be wrong. My brain's not letting this happen. Like, my brain's not willing to comprehend that it wouldn't be the person that's unmasked that's not doing the voice.
Something else that tripped me out once I found it out was that the janitor in The Mystery Begins is the same guy who did the Minor 49er in Scooby Doo 2.
Oh, is he like that kind of wacky guy that's like, I never wanted to be a janitor, I wanted to be like Coolsville's #1 like pop artist?
Yeah!
Oh my gosh.
That's great.
That's actually amazing. I can't wait to cover all those movies,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of maybe giving away my answers for these here, but like, and I know a lot of people didn't, but I really like The Mystery Begins.
I like it a lot.
I did too.
Really,
that's one of my favorites.
Like, I can see it's different. I can see that. Like, I can understand why people are like, oh, that doesn't look like Fred. I have an issue with like the casting this way. But I was like, okay, well, if you kind of view the characters as people in their own right, it's a movie that I can at least enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to this one, we then see they're arriving at the camp.
There's like a fake out, isn't there? Like, they go past this posh camp and they're like, look at this place, this is well good, isn't it? And then they get to this kind of run-down place. And again, this is pretty much the same setup as like a Daddy Day camp, right? Because I think even there, you've got your like posh, tough, Hogwarts, King and Queen, Silver Cutlery camp, and then you've got the kind of, let's like all like poo in the same hole camp.
I mean, it's a formula that works really well. We've seen a lot of movies that do it, like you said, like Daddy Day Camp's one of them. I guess for me with Disney's Camp Rock.
Have you guys seen Cheaper by the Dozen?
Yes, I have, and I love
the
it.
The second one?
Yeah, and even though it's not like a camp, it is like that contrast, and it's literally in that one a body of water that separates the two as well then, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I need to watch that.
There's so many parallels though, that's such a good comparison because they build something on the pier at like their initial home and everyone's like, yeah, that looks terrible, we want to go over there and do what they're doing. And then when, I know like skipping ahead a little bit, but when like they're stood on the pier and everyone's like, we're not swimming here, we're going over there, it's just like, yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
That happens.
Although, am I the worst person in the world if like, I know you meant to be on like Team Little Moose, but I'm convinced if I was sent to Team Little Moose as a kid, I would have called Childline or something. like there's Camp Big Moose there. Like, I'd have loved to have gone to Camp Big Moose.
Yeah, I'm quite a squeamish person, and I just feel like there's going to be a lot of insects and bugs in the cabins at Camp Little Moose.
Like, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I couldn't know.
And I am very like squeamish, like spiders and stuff. Like, oh no.
Well, especially around me, because I always try and save them, don't I?
Yeah, like JayBee loves nature. He's really, really sweet. So if I'm scared of anything, I literally I have to leave the room and just let him deal with it because I can't.
Yeah. Well, it's mad. Ooh, I can't do
I'm
that.
a jerk with bugs. Like, okay, people are like, oh, there's a spider or something in my house. Like, just, squish it with a shoe or whatever. I am a jerk, and I literally like will just put a cup over it and be like, suffocate to your death. I'll deal with you in the morning.
That's mad. Like
That is, I'd be too scared to leave it there. Like, oh my gosh, they scare me so much.
I just try and actively, like, I don't know if it's like countering toxic masculinity or whatnot, but my dad, he's a very oh, yeah.
Can I say the story about the Cypress spider for your dad?
Well, no, he basically, he just kills things, and I'm the type of person that I just want to release things, unless it's a wasp, because, like, screw wasps, like, they're not good for anything. Like, I'd pour kettle stuff on them, they're awful. But anything else, I just want to try and rescue and save and cuddle. Oh, whereas I think it's like the typical thing where, like, say if Millie was screaming, "Oh, there's something in here," I should come in there with my arms out, like, "Oh yeah, I'm a guy," and just punch it and beat it up. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Unless it's a wasp, I'd punch a wasp.
No, you and your dad are such contrast. So there was this time when we were on holiday in Cyprus, and
He hates me.
and like we'd gone out and we got back and I was just that tired. I walked up the stairs and just like fell straight to sleep. What I'd not realised was halfway up the stairs there was like, I don't want to call it a tarantula, but there was like,
It was massive.
there was I think it was poisonous. It was a hairy spider.
Definitely poisonous.
And JayBee came to follow me up the stairs, and like I said, I'd got to the room, I was fine, and he got a few stairs up and he was like, "Oh my god, you've just gone past this. Oh my goodness, somebody get here." And his parents ran up and his mum was like, "Oh my goodness, this is serious." His dad just got a chopping board or something, whacked this spider with the chopping board and went, "It's seriously dead now." And like that it's just like a line that we used to like joke with them, that because she was literally like, "This is serious," and he went, "It's seriously dead." Like, but yeah, it was this huge spider, and I'd just been that tired, I went straight past it.
Oh,
And it was awful. But JB's like so sweet. Like he tried whatever it is. Like at the minute there's like these kind of like almost like flying spider type things.
Oh, they're not flying spiders. They're like daddy long legs. They're the cutest things. You can cuddle
and you
them.
literally just like pick them up and move them outside.
So sweet. I love them.
oh, thank you.
No, I'm just like, deal with it. There's one.
Just deal with it.
The other day,
with it as nicely. You deal with it.
The other day, I was out on a walk with my mom. We were taking our 2 little dogs, and we just went to this park, and we're just doing like laps around it. And anyway, it took us like 3 times to go around to finally notice that there was a scorpion just chilling on the path.
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
It was fine. It didn't do anything. We were just like, oh, wow, look at that.
I was stung by a scorpion once on the foot. I stepped on one in the shower on holiday.
Oh gosh.
And I cannot. Oh my! It was one of the most painful things that have ever happened to me. And I'm a natural. I don't know what the best word to say. Like, I'm not a strong person, really. And so I was just screaming, and I was doing all sorts. Scorpions are just bad. They're like, if you have a crab and an injection, if they have a baby, it makes a scorpion. And I don't like crabs, and I don't like injections, so I don't like scorpions. You can have them though, Millie. They can be your pet.
In terms of animals, like my like worst pain threshold's got to be like, I got stung by a wasp, but you know like like your ankle on the outside of the bone on the outside of your ankle. Like I'd gone to sit down and put my foot on the sofa, and it stung me on the bone of my ankle like 3 times. And we were on holiday at a caravan park, and I was only like 7, 8, and I screamed so much. Like my parents physically walked around all the neighbouring caravans like, "Don't worry, my daughter's just been stung, it's fine," because I was screaming and just wouldn't stop. Like,
yeah, like she's not being held hostage. She's
yeah, my parents did physically walk around everyone like, do you have anything for wasp stings? This has just happened. She's okay, don't worry. Don't let the noise deceive you.
Wasp story. My grandpa had just passed away from cancer, and so we were like, going to the funeral and whatever. So I was at my grandparents' house, and I was like playing with my niece and nephew, and there was like this old stool outside or whatever. I can't remember what I was trying to get, but like stepped on it, and of course, you know, the wasps had built their nest like right under the step and whatever. So as soon as I put my foot there, you know, they come storming out and stung my toe because of course I was wearing like sandals, open-toed sandals and whatever. And anyway, so yeah, like horrible feeling. But if you didn't know this, I learned this from my grandma because, you know, grandmas, I swear, know so much. But if you just get like mud and put it over the stinger where they stung you, it pulls it out. So that's all I did.
Amazing. Isn't it amazing, like, what grandparents are like? My gran, like, she loves gardening, and there was one time when, like, I'd gone out and I was stung by nettles, and we went to her house afterwards. She literally just walked out into the garden. She'd been growing these plants, and she's like, "It's fine, just put these on it. They're great for nettle stings." And it's like, how do you know this stuff?
Right.
You know what I mean? For anything like that, it's like, oh my goodness, I need to go to the pharmacy. I need medication. I need something.
Yep.
And like, I need some kind of cream or just something. And she was here like, okay, I've just grown this in the garden. There you go.
Yeah, it's just like, here you go.
That's why I'm so helpless, because all my grandparents just died before I could talk. That's why I don't know anything. I didn't have that kind of Master Shifu wisdom. Although that's what you do for me now, Milly. You're like my old lady, and I go to you for wisdom.
Yeah, literally, he was just saying to our boss like 2 days ago that he thinks I'm an old lady.
Yeah, but a wise old lady. Not like one of those silly ones that go around looking like ghosts and stuff, like a nice wise one.
Oh, we do have to Zen smash that like at the end of the podcast because it was like... I
deleted it when... You know that like 4-hour Lego build, I had to delete loads to save it. I had to delete it, but I sent it to a group chat and I can like screen record it and stuff, but it's creepy, I tell you.
So, with the movie, they've just arrived at Camp Listen. Horrible place. And like, we were saying how all the campers start with it, but like, the adults just didn't, because then you get that guy who just like runs out like, "Get out, it's haunted, go!"
Yeah, and why do that? Like, it's mystery, ain't man? Like, it'd be great for... Like, do they probably don't know. Like, I assume Fred would have... No. To what extent does this guy know Fred? Has it been years since Fred's met them? Like, surely...
I think it's more the older one that knew Fred, isn't it? Because he's about to do the handshake with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and he's, like, messing around in, like, the side, isn't he? While everyone's frolicking. Yeah.
I kind of like... I do like the handshake scene. Like, I don't know why.
No, it's sweet. It's endearing. Yeah. That's the thing. And again, it's very similar to how he was with his dad.
I think it's just we don't see them interact with many people that aren't each other in like a long-term capacity. Like we see a lot of people arrive for one movie and then they go, or they arrive for an episode and they go. Whereas to like for them to be like, oh yeah, this person's been in my life for a while. Just like, okay, this is nice. This is new.
It is nice. I agree. And it's good to kind of have some, like, positive relationships in that. It's not just like going there and there's some, like, axe-wielding guy and just, like, a load of anonymous names. There's, like, almost some emotional weight to it because, again, it's Fred's memories, it's Fred's friends. So, and he actually has somewhat of a story arc, and I don't think often we have many of the characters having a story arc. I mean, it's a bit narcissistic, but he's like, he wants to go with it and he wants to be the hero, the leader, the teacher. But it's good that he's got those types of goals, because I guess if you reason it like that's what the older counselor did for him, he maybe wants to then use that energy to help someone else.
Yeah, it kind of makes the movie more relatable, because quite often you see Mr. Ink just saying, do you know what, I'm going to do this because I'm a good person and I want to help. Whereas with this, it's like, okay, we see that they actually have a motivation here. It's not just about being nice, like this actually meant something to them. There's some kind of personal link there.
Which, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, like, for all they can be good people to, like, strangers, there's always that kind of tale of, like, the Good Samaritan. It's nice that there's some personal weight here as well.
Have either of you seen Scooby Doo and the Gourmet Ghost?
No. Not yet.
No.
It's on the shelf ready for Smash or Pass.
That's another expensive one, actually. I don't know.
That one has like a long-term relationship thing that it's hard for me to believe, because in that movie there's like a few famous, like world famous chefs in it, and one of them being Bobby Flay, and they make Bobby Flay be Fred's uncle, and I'm just like, that one's hard for me to believe.
Yeah, like maybe you know what? Gordon Ramsay looks a bit like Fred. Like he's kind of got like kind of blonde guy. Well, that's kind of it, and blonde guy vibes. But I don't know who this Bobby Flay is. Like I'll admit, I know virtually nothing about famous chefs or anything. I could name only Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver, SpongeBob. Like that's literally that's it. They're the only kind of cooks that I know. Millie, you probably know loads, don't you? Like you
my
watch all
parents
these
watched so
MasterChef,
much, like
MKR.
yeah, like I grew up just watching so many cooking shows. Like they're like something called My Kitchen Rules.
Who's that old
They're in
fella with no hair?
Australia. They're like MasterChef from every country. Like they watch the South African one, the English one, the Australian one, the American one. Literally their entire year they have it lined up as to what cooking shows are on. It's insane. But yeah, I guess it's a chef that I didn't know either. But I think the difference with like seeing a character like this, where it's just like, okay, it was the camp counselor and it been an actual family member, it's like surely would have seen this before.
Well, and that's the thing, because like in that movie, again, we'll get to it when we do, but like you know, they like get to wherever they're going and Fred's like, oh, this is my uncle, and Shaggy and Scooby are like in such disbelief. They're like, how have we gone our whole life and you haven't told us that this is your uncle? Like,
yeah, we'd have been friends with you so much earlier. We love food.
Yeah,
especially when you've got friends like Shaggy and Scooby. It's something that you'd mention.
I mean, definitely. Or even, see, I guess that could in a way add to Fred's character, that he's got a famous relative that he doesn't just use for clout. But then he's a better guy than me. Like, say, if like Robert Downey Jr. was my uncle, I don't think you'd hear me say anything else. That would just be like, oh, well, look at this, look at that.
My auntie does family trees and stuff, and she literally just like tracked it back to our first famous relative, and then we didn't make much progress after that.
Wait,
like,
what famous relative?
There's this.
The Churchill.
I feel like this is the right name. I'm not 100% sure. There's somebody in the UK called Brian Blessed, I want to say.
Yeah, he's like...
Not a clue who he is.
Brian Blessed.
But my auntie like tracked the family tree to there, and she's like, that's great. Just going to leave that there now. We did it.
Claim inheritance. Claim the throne.
She's amazing though for like family trees and stuff. Like, she's literally just booked a weekend to like the far side of England, like just different areas, just to like try and locate some records to like do family tree stuff.
You must be related to the Queen somewhere down the line.
I mean, I know you think my gran's very regal, but no.
No, like I just kind of think it's something. Like I'm probably related to like a Maharaja somewhere. I reckon you're related to the royal family in some capacity.
JayBee loves my gran. That's why he thinks like she's related to the Queen. She's very like, I don't know. She's just very. She doesn't let her age show or anything at all. Like, she lives on her own. She's lived on her own for like 25 years. And every day she makes a conscious like effort to like set an alarm so she's up at what she deems as an appropriate time. She then like she always likes to have matching outfits. She still likes to wear like a skirt every day, like kind of like a relatively long skirt, because like obviously she's like very practical and prim and proper way to do everything. But she's like, you know, she's a lady. She likes to wear a skirt. She likes to make sure that at least one of the colours within the skirt matches the top she's wearing. She's very like, she's just very, she holds herself to a high standard. And she's like 85, like she's somewhere between 85 and 90, and she literally just keeps herself at that standard the entire time. So that's where JayBee's related to the Queen reference.
Very elegant woman. And I just about that, because I'm just thinking, when I'm 85, I'm just going to admit that I'm screwed, and I'm probably just going to like fester in my own garbage. Like, it's done now. Like,
I know we're going on so many tangents, but I just think it's because like it's just so nice to like just speak and like catch up and all that kind of stuff. But like literally she just keeps herself so busy. Like I was telling you about the gardening story where she could just go and like find these leaves that were great for treating like nettle stings and stuff. She like she doesn't like to like waste all the time, so she sits like knitting hats and blankets and stuff for like the maternity wards of hospitals, and she's more busy than I am. Like, I feel so lazy when I listen to her. She's like 85, 90 and she's doing all this stuff. It's just, I need to do
like
more.
My grandparents on my mom's side, so my grandparents like got married when they were 16, and then like soon after, my grandma got pregnant, and my grandpa had to go into war. So my grandma had like her first child alone. But it's just crazy because like after all of this, my grandma like still to this day is just like taking care of people. Like that's all she does, because like she was taking care of my great grandma, you know, until she passed away, and then one of my uncles was handicapped and you know, like couldn't get out of bed or get into bed alone and stuff, and it's because of some issues that were present at birth for him. But he's passed away now, but you know, she constantly was like just taking care of people, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like grandma, yeah, you're like 85 or something, like how?
It's amazing. I do think because my mum often says like even she can't do the amount that my gran does, and I think sometimes like you were saying about like the wartime and stuff, I do think it's sometimes just like that kind of generational thing where it's like they went through something where they were like, okay, well regardless we just need to get through this, we need to just push, and it's like something they've never lost, and like they're looking after people. My gran's from like a small village, and throughout the war her mum was the medic post for that village. So my gran still has this this like proper like first aid set in this metal box that was like sent to her mum at the start of the war to kind of, you know, just if anybody in the village, like if there was like any bombings that happened in the village or anything, there shouldn't have been because it's like where all the evacuees and stuff went, but like she was just the medic point and they'd sent her these resources and this metal tin with all this eye wash treatment and stuff like that. And so my gran like actually let me take this into school when we were doing like history week for the war and stuff, because it was like that she has like a stretcher and stuff as well that they were given as like this medical post stuff. But yeah, that's kind of where her kind of looking after people and stuff comes from.
It is fascinating, like especially then that kind of like it almost makes me like feel like my life's going too slowly as well, because like Smash was saying his grandparents getting married at like 16. I think your mum got married at like what, 18, wasn't it?
My mum got married at 17.
Like 17. And I'm just like thinking, at least with my dad, if he ever tried to come at me like, oh, JayBee, what are you doing with your life? When I was 16, I was married, and I can just go, yeah, but you got divorced. Like at least I could turn around and say that. But like all the other like other marriages, it's like, yeah, legit, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, my mum does have that kind of mentality. She's like, you know, when I was your age, I was married with 3 kids. And it's like, okay, well, that's really, really nice that you did that, Mum. But in the nicest possible way. I stayed in education for 6 extra years than what you did. So I'm sorry, we are on different paths, and I'm sorry about that, but everyone does have their own.
My parents got married like at 18, young and whatever, but they always told me and my siblings growing up, they were like, you know, even though we did it, it was super hard, and we don't expect or really want you guys to do it. So even though they did it, they always reminded us that we take our own time and we do it however we need to do it. You know, it just worked out for them how it did.
That's actually really cool. And I like that a lot. It was just, I guess maybe my parents, or at least my mum, had to deal with that differently, because my grandparents on her side, they were like full-blown Indian, so I'm pretty sure they were the result of an arranged marriage. So they met like in a day, and like that very night they were like getting married. And then having to go from that to this kind of like Western civilization thing where my mum was like at an English university. I'm just like, oh, the difference between here that you've met for a day, now you're set for life, between like, oh, you know, maybe you're having your little weekends at like a London bar or something, or maybe you're going out on a, I don't know how people did it back then. I don't even know. I don't know how it works. I don't know what the kids are doing nowadays. But just the difference between that and for the longest time, I always thought, you know what, I don't need to stress. I can just get like an arranged marriage or something. And now it's just like, oh, I'm happy now.
Yeah, at 18, you turned around to your mum and I was like, Grandma did it, Grandpa did it. I want an arranged marriage.
Yeah, just sort
I don't want the stress of looking for people.
And thank God that didn't happen because then
lucky.
I'd be in like Bangladesh or somewhere. Like, I don't know what I'd be doing.
Instead, you're here with me.
It's really good, isn't it? But I don't have
I bet he wishes he went to Bangladesh.
No. The only thing I missed out on, I don't have my pet elephant that I would have had, and I would have had a pet elephant. I would have called it something cute, and every day I would have gone out and tickled its trunk.
We've got a pet Scooby here. We found this cute Scooby teddy. It's like the softest material in the world. So literally, they're literally just sat on the desk here as we're recording, like right next to the mic.
But it's so cute because sometimes you wake up and you're still cuddling it, and I'm like, oh my God.
Thanks for that, JayBee.
No.
That happened one time, okay?
No, come on. It's
One time. I hate you.
I'll cuddle them tonight.
The world knows now.
So you've been exposed.
Yeah, that is true. Like the first day we got Scooby, we fell asleep watching a movie in bed, and I woke up and Scooby was still sat there.
So
I mean, hey, I have my Mr. Boo here sitting with me.
Oh yeah, Mr. Boo.
I feel so bad. Like I've literally just talked about how my mum said that she'd be like married and kids
Oh gosh,
and
don't
stuff.
even get don't even get comparison. That's ridiculous.
Now we're talking about having sat here with a teddy.
We love it.
Part
We
on
love
the path
it.
she was aiming for.
What about our age? The Greatest Generation was out
Neither, it's
literally
fine.
saving the world, and like we're here like, oh my gosh, here's our toys.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, like my
You
grandma.
know
like,
what? We
medically
love it. That's
trained.
all that matters.
And in a way, I guess that's what they were fighting for, right? The right that people could live in safety and
Cuddle with
act a
your
bit.
Scoobies.
Yeah, just so people can be free. Like we can cuddle
Yeah.
toys because we're not worried about some people potentially messing us up, which is sweet. I guess it's sweet. Maybe one day it will happen again, and it'll be our turn, and we can do like Team Smash or Pass. Let's go to war. Like, is there a war movie coming out? That could be a little trial for that day.
God.
Vlogging.
Can it wait till I'm dead? I don't think I could do it.
No.
We'll all do it. We'll get matching t-shirts. We'll go there. We'll vlog. What's up, everyone?
Oh, this has nothing to do with anything. I'm kind of taking some spontaneous trips within this next month because of everything that's going on in my life, and so I'm gonna get some vlogs out. I'm excited.
Hey, vlogs are awesome. Your vlogs are always so cool. I like watching them to like calm me down. And just you've got a really good taste in music. I love that. I'm sure I could do it, but I just keep using copyrighted material, and it means, well, you know, I don't care. I don't mind about, as long as it isn't taken down. I don't mind if they want all the revenue, if they want half of the revenue. As long as I can use the songs I want, I'm happy. But quite often I just get messed up.
Yeah, in terms of using songs, you discovered TikTok at work today. Well, we have a TikTok, but like you like discovered the full extent of TikTok. And
Yeah, I discovered I wanted to be a DJ. Like, I just found this DJ on TikTok, and they do the coolest things, like top 5 songs from the 2000s that you forgot about, and I was just like binge watching this guy's stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to be a DJ. How do I do this? Oh, you're laughing
That'd
at
be
me.
fun.
No, but I've seen some mad things on TikTok. It all just seems a bit inappropriate though. Or maybe it's just me, because at least 5 times I've seen like people dressed as Daphne like twerking, and I'm like, oh yeah, the government listens to me.
So we're then at the stage of the movie where we meet the police guy, and I will admit, I instantly find them a bit strange.
Well, he's a pervert, isn't it?
After all you said about Daphne, he dare say that, you know, Velma's beautiful, and you're like,
No, he's a
petitioning.
yeah, he's a pervert. That's what I'm saying. Like, and you
I
know
just
what?
think
No,
that-
no. You're gonna actually no. I shall. This is actually contradicting what I'm saying. Please feel free to speak. Was on?
Oh no, please.
I was gonna say that the guy's misogynistic after telling you to stop talking so I could speak.
I feel like after all you say about Daphne, you can't comment.
Okay, but this guy, I'm not saying it to them out loud. This person, who does that? I'm sure this is some type of harassment, like how you doing there, beautiful, like, ooh. Like that's some form of harassment, right?
I think you're just a bit salty that Daphne wasn't getting the compliment.
No, look, he's either a harasser or he's a creep. I think he's
Well, maybe if they had some knowledge of Mystery Inc. and they know Velma's the brains, maybe it's trying to win her over a little bit.
That is just pervert, isn't it?
Because I do think they were quite suspicious. Like, they were trying to get rid of him. They were like, this person's a maniac. We don't want to scare you kids. So...
No, I don't like him because there's no need to be weird. Like, okay, fine. If he wants to compliment Velma, that's great. But then when Daphne's like, oh, thank you. Like, I feel like it's just human etiquette, right? That you don't turn around and say, not you. Like, if we went to like a party and I was like, oh, that's a really nice suit you're wearing. Someone turns around and goes, oh, thanks. And I'm like, oh yeah, not yours. That one. Like, you just,
Yeah.
you just kind of go, oh yeah, it's really nice. Where'd you get it from? And then you just you just ignore them. And then you go on to who you're actually speaking to and you go, oh, and that's really nice as well. Like, oh, where'd you get that from? I really want to get that. You don't say, oh yeah, not you.
Well, I'm taking a compliment away from this because JayBee always is like, I pride myself on being relatively intelligent, so it's almost like, oh, you're more of a Velma than a Daphne. So I'm just like, okay, Velma got some recognition. I'm happy with that.
No,
I can appreciate that.
It's good. You like a little Velma. Well, I'd say Velma, but I'd like to say that in like a haunted house scenario, you'd be more open to the supernatural, wouldn't you?
Yeah, like well, we've had the conversation today. Like, I clearly believe in like the ghosts, supernatural. It is all there, but I guess like mentally wise, I do try to be annoyingly intelligent.
So instantly, I'm suspicious about this pervert. Like, I don't know.
Right, look, if you say this because he called a girl beautiful, we have proof on these recordings. You literally said, okay, I'm going to say smash for this movie because Daphne's in a bikini. They've been your exact words, and you're calling this man a pervert. Are you kidding?
Yeah, but look, I'm in the audience talking about a lovely lady that happens to be a public figure. And I'm not going out there upsetting people.
They've solved all these mysteries. They must be public figures at this point.
Look, okay, look. Okay, but hear me out here. I am but one man, and this guy is like a sheriff, isn't he? So he's in a position of power. So defund the sheriff's department, cancel this guy. He's a pervert. He's abusing his power.
I found it funny that Daphne was like, oh, thank you, straight away.
I mean, it is a bit,
it's like, okay, well,
yeah.
You're like, so we went to the shop like 2 weeks ago, and it's run by a relatively strange man, and I was just walking down one of the aisles, and he was like,
what shop is this?
The collectibles one.
Oh yeah, okay.
And this guy, and there was two men working there, and one of them said to the other, oh, did you tell her about the offer that's on, because I'd picked 2 things up, and if you get 3 you get like 10% off or something. And he was just like, oh yeah, you come in here all the time, don't you, beautiful? And I was just like, I'm putting my head down. I don't know, I don't even want to seem arrogant enough to act like you're addressing me here. Like,
well, I'm bad.
I just want to leave that, because I don't want to come across as arrogant and be like, oh yeah, thank you. Like, if you're calling someone beautiful, I don't want to include myself in this. Like, I think to respond to that in any way, unless you're physically speaking to that person already, then to look up and go, yeah, it just seems arrogant. And I wasn't directly speaking to them. I was just walking, minding my own business.
I mean, I do very much assume certain things, especially on the internet. And it's like, this is a story that I never thought I'd tell. Oh, but we're in the mood to share. So there's this lovely lady on Instagram, shall we say, who's very, very open, very flirty, especially like attempting to slide into the DMs.
Oh, I know.
So she's a very lovely lady, I'll say that much. And when she first started messaging us, she was like, oh, hey, I really like you. You guys have amazing voices. And I'm like, I'm getting gassed up. Because obviously, like, Milly, like, you're like my one and only, right? So don't be nasty. But like I'm just there going, oh my gosh, it's happened. It's like my first kind of online groupie. It's all happening, and then she's like, oh, can I speak to Millie? I think she's really hot. And I was like, oh, okay, go on, Millie. This one's for you. I'm like, no. Why does this happen? I need one simp. I'll pay for one if I have to.
We have that one friend that likes you. Cloud likes you.
No, like Cloud's special to my heart. We'll park that where it belongs.
Yeah, like the one on Instagram is a very forward person. We do get some messages that I don't expect.
We've had a few offers as well. I don't think it's something.
It's a bit odd.
I mean, if you want to do it, I think I've been kicked out of that situation.
No.
But I was hyped. I was like, yeah, this is it. This is the start of it. I'm gonna be like having to block so many lovely ladies, like, and it's not even for me.
But yeah, like,
Poor JayBee.
bringing it back to the topic, I do think I don't know. I do think that you have to have some very odd level of confidence to hear somebody being called beautiful and be like, okay, that's me.
It is though. Like,
Yeah.
Who else could they be talking to? She stood next to Velma, right?
Yeah, like,
No, Velma's legit.
come on, you
Quite
know, if you
cute.
put a poll out on Twitter today,
Yeah, there's so
there would
many,
be a good
yeah.
proportion that's like, do you know what, Velma, she's so underrated.
But I feel that's 100% down to Linda Cardellini, right? If Linda Cardellini never played Velma or something, I feel like all these Velma simps would kind of go, because where else is she prominent in? Like,
Or even Mindy Cohn, I feel like.
Mindy Cohn. Oh, you know, that's a good shot. Oh, actually, isn't the Velma from Mystery Begins like really famous now? Because I checked, I followed them all on Instagram, and I think she has like 5 million followers now. And she's like doing music. It could be from that.
Wow.
What's her name? She's like called Hayley Kukio?
Like,
Oh yeah. Haley Kiyoko.
Kukiyoko?
I think, like, people... See, I wouldn't say I was a huge Velma fan. Growing up, I did prefer Daphne to Velma, but I would say that, like, sometimes people can disregard Velma and just not think of her as much of a girl in the same way.
Oh, yeah, she's got
But, like,
1.9
even
followers.
In one of the
Yeah.
first movies we looked at, like, The Witch's Ghost, you saw her be, like, more feminine because Ben Ravencroft was there. Like, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it is known, and people have like, I don't know. I feel like in terms of like, I guess with females, there's always one type that people like, right? Like, you know, like they're all right. And Velma, I don't know what her thing is. I guess she's got something that I just can't see. Maybe you can see it, Millie.
No, I think it's just everybody appreciates different things in a person's character.
But would you be outright in saying that? Like, because we literally, like, what, we met first year of uni, so I never really had to go out and do all those, like, pickup line things. But at no point, no matter how confident would I be, like, I'd go, hey, how you doing? You look very, very nice tonight. You're a very lovely lady. How are you?
No, you tried telling me that my face looked like another girl's face. It was a very interesting process.
Well, I couldn't do it smoothly.
Yeah, I guess it is weird. It's just...
So yeah, the guy's a
It was
perv.
smooth enough. You got her anyways.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true, isn't it? But that was before I put on weight. That was back when
For
I was
goodness
this.
sake, JayBee.
Oh, literally, me from 17 to 19, chocolate James Bond. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was saying this at work yesterday, and they were all like, "Oh, we want you to bring in pictures. What do you mean? What do you mean you were like a chocolate James Bond? We want to see this." No.
No, I was legitimately a lover boy of George Clooney in proportions. Like, that was
Your
big.
quote for the day.
Well, George Clooney. Oh, I hope I age like that with grey hair and stuff. Like, I just, yes, that would be me. Although I don't want to lose my hair. As long as I don't lose my hair, I'm happy.
You've got... I feel like this is something else that I might have already said on one of these videos, but JB's got an uncle that he said he wants to, like, age into. And there's this one picture of like his
he's
family
a legend.
together. So there's JB's grandpa and 4 of his children. And 3 out of the 4 children are all in like black dresses, black suits. The grandpa's in a black suit, and then there's just this one uncle. He's got a full head of grey hair, and he's just there in like a flowered shirt with a pink jacket over the top. And everyone else is there in full-on black tie, and he was just there with this amazing, colourful outfit. And JB's just like, I want that. That's who I want to be.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like I think I've got a bit of a black sheep complex, to be honest. I like being a bit different.
Okay, so I feel like we're now at the 3 children arriving at the camp. So I feel like they're very quite cliche characters. Like, there's like kind of like a standard, like, I don't know. There's like the confident guy. I kind of feel like if you're categorizing them, they might come into like kind of what, like a jock category. They're very sporty. They're very outgoing.
It's like your ragtag team of underdogs, isn't it? You kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's almost like a Mystery Incorporated, right? There's the kind of confident guy, a kind of, I want to say, a nerdy, reserved female. And I don't know who this other guy is. He's kind of
like a hyperallergenic.
Yeah, like a Shaggy Scooby type character.
Like, again, it's one of the Daddy Day camp references, because isn't the one there where it's like, he needs to have his medication at this time? Did he bring these pills with him? Does he have this ointment? Does he have his inhaler? It's just like, oh gosh. So yeah, they're the characters. Inherently, I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I think they're quite nice. I like them.
Yeah,
I didn't get any bad vibes from them. I like the next bit. So Shaggy and Scooby are making the food. And I don't know, again, it's just kind of one of those references, like, you know how I was saying I like the bit in the store where it's like you think they're outside but they're not. And then again, this one, I feel like they were just taking the time to include some like fun references, like the burning a hole in the bottom of the bowl chili where they lift the bowl up and...
Yeah, was that a reference to how hot the chili was? Because I always got it in my head that it was some like camp tradition where like there'd just be a bowl with a hole at the bottom, and like whoever had the hole at the bottom was like the loser for the night. They didn't get food.
Oh yeah.
Like a prank as opposed to a thing.
Yeah, like a trial. I don't know, like an initiation, but apparently it was just there was a hole because it was warm.
I just think it was them going out of the way to make stuff fun.
Yeah.
And also, just before that is when Scooby first sees the Woodman.
Is it?
Yeah, just before they eat that, he goes out to collect firewood.
Yeah, Fred thinks he's seen a moose, and then Scooby sees the moose, and it's the Woodsman.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bit of a formula that either Shaggy or Scooby sees them first, because they get most scared, so you get the kind of fear built up, and
it is a bit
they do that well.
Because Fred's like, oh, these are moose tracks, and everyone's like, oh, that's cool, and then they see that Scooby's there, and they all like make fun of him, and he doubts himself, but then it actually was a moose, and it's a bit sad, because it's like Fred's just trying to do his thing in this movie, and everyone seems to be defeating him, whether it's going to Big Moose Lake, or like not letting him show people how to start fires. So it's a bit sad. Yeah.
And we're moving on to the Big Moose Lake thing now, because the next day they wake up, they're all stood around the kind of green pond, and Fred's like, yeah, we're going to go swimming. And that's where they kind of introduce the story of the second villain, which is the Fishman. But to be honest, I could see that if you went swimming in the green stuff, then something was going to happen to you.
Yeah.
But that didn't look like you were going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, they say that happened in like the big lake, but it's either you become a fish man, like basically Aquaman, you just look like a Ben 10 like alien, or like you get some horrific disease, like what is it, cholera or something. Like you'll not come out the same after like being in that Camp Little Moose Lake. And it's like one time I went to Canada, and there's this lake called Lake Erie, and you have to just like shimmy through like loads of seaweed and sludge, and I think I'd prefer that than this toxic lake. Like, it's disgusting. It looks like the one from the Simpsons movie.
And at this point as well, when he's just done like a 6 a.m. wake up call, and they're all just stood in their pajamas falling asleep.
You're not gonna lie.
Like, who'd
I'd be
sign
so
up to
angry.
this?
No,
Why would you sign up to?
I'd be so angry if that happened.
Oh, have you guys seen Big Top Scooby Doo?
No, not yet.
That's another one. It's on the list. I don't know where it is, but it's on the list.
So there's a quote in that one that Shaggy says that I constantly quote. Okay, but I'm a morning person. I really am. I love the mornings. Like, I'm just that freak. But I always like to use Shaggy's quote because they're like joining this circus, helping out and whatever, and like the ringmaster dude, whatever. It's like, okay, so like we're gonna start early, whatever, and he's everybody up at 6 a.m. or whatever, and Shaggy goes, "There's a 6 a.m." and I'm just like, honestly, I use that on the daily. I'm like, what? There's a 6 a.m.
I'm pretty sure I've quoted that like without knowing I quoted it. Like
My parents say stuff like that to me. Like, there was one day when we had to like get up for work, and like we had to leave the house for like 6:45 to get to this place for 9. And so my parents sometimes like call me or text me to make sure I'm awake. And literally my dad's morning greeting was like, "Oh, so you now know there's like a 6 a.m." I was like, thanks. I'm still asleep. Just shut up, please. I'm too tired.
Well, that's like for like my big surgeries and stuff, I usually have to get up pretty early because they like to start as early as they can. Because like, I mean, one of my last big surgeries took like 9 hours to do, so it's like an all-day process. But like I remember getting up really early for these surgeries. I think the last time I got up at like 4 a.m. to get prepped and stuff, because it does take a few hours to get everything prepped and get you checked in and blah blah blah. But I'm always like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Can we just go start the surgery so I can go back to sleep?
God.
no, like
I couldn't imagine waking up that early.
I couldn't imagine being a morning person. Like
I would love to be a morning person.
I kind of tell a lie. When I'm motivated, I can be a morning person. Like I think it was literally we'd been working for like 3-4 weeks at this point, and God bless you, Millie. You're great. You like help me wake up every day. Like literally, and there was one day where you were literally like dancing the Scooby toy on me to try and wake me up. It was really cute. Like I get babied very much. But literally, the day the new Pokemon set came out, I think it was Chilling Rain, I was awake at like 6 a.m. and I was like poking you like, hey, come on, we have to go.
Like, it's fair to say JB's really not a morning person. Like, I think it's fair to say, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this,
oh no,
there are some days when literally before we're out of bed, there's been an argument because it's just like, you really do need to wake up, like, there's like 20 minutes till we leave for work. Come on, please. You really need to get up now. This isn't funny anymore. Come on, get up. Like, leave me alone. Just like, okay. But yeah, like this day that Pokemon came out, we'd been up recording till about 3 a.m. And at 6 a.m. he woke me up like, okay, it's a half an hour drive. The store opens at 9. And I'm like, yeah. So that means setting off at 8:30. And it's like, yeah, but we need to get there early in case like the queue or something. Like, great. We still don't need to set off before 8. And it's like, yeah, well, it's 6. Let's get ready. Gosh. That's not.
I currently do 2 different jobs, and both of them are like early in the morning. Like basically every day I'm up at least by like 6 a.m. and stuff. But I've always said that I like sunrises more than sunsets because, and I guess this is a little more of a personal thing, but like because I've been told so many times throughout my life that like I was supposed to die at this point, I shouldn't be alive and whatever, and so for me, sunrises are so beautiful because it's like I got to see that, I got to see this new beginning and continue and stuff, and so I don't know, I'm just a morning person and I love freaking sunrises. Like today I got up for work and unfortunately my manager didn't show up, so I didn't end up working, but I got to, as I was driving back to my house, everything's fine by the way, she just forgot what time she was supposed to come in, but everything's fine. But as I was driving back to the house, the sunrise was happening. I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. Anyway, random.
No, that's really nice. I always wish that I could be a morning person. Like, if I can wake up in the morning, like early, so I feel like I have more time to get ready, I always just feel so much better that day. It's just getting in the mentality where I can do it. I really wish I could.
Yeah, but I feel like in terms of all that stuff, though, it's kind of it's inspiring to hear, because I feel like smASH has such like a really beautiful soul in that regard, like from taking kind of like a near death thing to like appreciating the mornings. And there's literally times where like even like going into like the aneurysm thing where the doctors were like, oh, you might die, you sign this because you might die. And since then it's kind of like some days I'd just wake up going, oh, could I not have gone then? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's like I'd rather go in doing, you know, when something significant's happened, then I trip over down the stairs, and then that's I've like gone doing something stupid. And there's some days where I'm like, I'd rather have gone and there have been a significant reason, or it would have happened in a significant setting, or let's face it, from my point of view, a dramatic way. For the longest time I was just like, oh god, this again. Like, hopefully I don't choke on my lunch, because that would be a stupid way to go. I just need to be more positive with it.
Yeah, your positivity is something we can work on, JayBee.
Well, this is why like smASH is like one of my favourite person to speak to, because I just like I feel like I get the positive vibes, whereas normally I'm like, okay, this is it. It's raining. I don't have any money.
There's like one thing that I heard 2 years ago, that has really stuck with me, and I'm like, you know, I try to kind of keep that as like a drive for me, but like there was someone that I met and stuff that she was trying to, you know, like, I guess become more of a morning person just for her own goals and whatever. But she said, you know, like waking up early and like, you know, like the world is still kind of waking up, things are, you know, coming alive, so to speak, and whatever. But she's like, when I get up early, I feel like I have an advantage over everyone else. And I'm like, that is so true. It's like, holy crap, I have so much more time, or I can do this and no one will know because they're all asleep. And I don't know why that stuck with me. I'm just like, yeah, when I get up in the morning, it's like suddenly I have a huge advantage over a lot of other people.
I like that.
I do think it is good. Like you said, you do just get further ahead. You have more chance to, like before work and stuff, you have more chance for your brain to just wake up, get comfortable with the day and all that kind of stuff.
And that's that saying, isn't there? Like, imagine the most successful person in the world, like, and then just think technically you have the same amount of like hours in the day as there. But it's difficult to stay motivated. And I feel like I do my best work at night, but then obviously working in the day now, I'm always shattered at night. So it's either I don't know what to do. I think I need to move somewhere where the time zones are all fluid. I think I'd be the most productive person in the world there. I think I'm the most productive person. I just live in the wrong place.
Yeah, somewhere in the world you have a normal sleeping pattern, JayBee.
Somewhere.
It's just not the UK.
I don't know where, but I will find it one day. Trust me, I will. So where are we now? We've finished...
So, yeah, they're just about to head to Big Moose Lake.
Oh, Lord.
So this is where we start to get the montage. And before the montage, Fred and Daphne are seen holding hands after they've just had their argument. So this is like, I feel like the first time that we've actually seen some kind of romance between them. Like it's always hinted at that they like each other, but I don't feel like we ever really see them hold hands until this point.
Hand holding romance, because I kind of think it is, because like I held hands with my mum when I was little, so I didn't get hit by a bus. But then it's just been you. And that's it. I don't know. I've never held hands.
Literally, they were just like stood on the cliff looking at the lake together. I think it was meant to be a romantic setting.
It seemed like a romantic setting, but then that makes Fred ridiculously unlikable then throughout the movie then if it was... Yeah,
like it comes on to a second where it's just like, why did you put that in the movie to then have him refer to this new person as a super hot like counsellor like 5 minutes later?
He's like, oh, I hate Camp Big Moose with the... stupid kids and the snobby attitudes on that. Oh, really hot counselor.
Yeah, it's like why do you need to put those two things in the same movie? It just doesn't look good.
But they over animate that, like, what's it called, Jessica, so much, and like
They do.
I know that I'm all one for a bit of fun, you know, like the 2002 movie is great, but I don't think that there was a great need for it because I don't know what's gone on there because they just put so much detail into every, well, I don't know what to say, every curvature, everything. And again, I'm not like a person that'll sit there and go, oh, you know, we can't corrupt kids' minds, we need to keep kids innocent. But I'm like, was that necessary? And I kind of don't think it was.
It wasn't necessary to have the two things in the same movie. You either work on his relationship with Daphne or you do the kind of standard thing where a new person comes in and one of them gets jealous. I just don't think the two together were good. But before the new counselor comes in, there's that montage. Now that montage is where I'd love to have seen the opening song. Like, I do like the song they use, but that's exactly what I imagined when I heard the opening song.
Yeah.
That kind of like, you know, the on the boats, the fishing.
They're like eating burgers, like kind of recurring joke where Fred always just has like smoke blowing in his face wherever he tries to eat.
Yeah. We also see a lot more development of one of the younger campers there, the blonde boy. He's literally just like a mini Fred in parts of that.
He is, yeah, Luke.
Yeah, he's literally just like he's a mini Fred, but also like he just tries to outshine him, like when they're doing the fishing thing and he's like, this is how to fish, and he's like, what do you mean, I've already caught this? And it's just like, oh, that's great. The girl that always wears purples, like Velma, there's like a good parallel there. One thing that's really random, I love the sunglasses that they gave Shaggy for this scene. The kind of blue reflective things, I don't know why, they just stood out. I really like them.
I remember it now. I'm gonna look it up.
I like it as well. Again, I just don't want to get in trouble, so I think I'll stay quiet.
Do you find that you could get in trouble? Like,
well, literally, my notes, I've done like a full page, and looks like me like having like a hot like. There, I don't even want to read these out.
Yeah, you turn the page because you've said that the blonde shouldn't be in a bikini, and then Daphne is. So
no, they're not blonde. No. Look, okay. Here's the difference, though. Daphne is in a bikini, right? But I feel like it isn't overstated. Like, obviously, they have the reveal. They have the Daphne reveal, the Velma reveal, which obviously aren't totally necessary because they don't give the same reveal to say Fred or Shaggy. It's highlighted
that Velma thing's a bit strange. Like the way they did the reveal with that of. This is Daphne in a bikini, and then you get Velma, and they tried to do a contrast that I just don't think was necessary. What are they saying?
Are they saying Velma couldn't wear a bikini because she doesn't have the type of body type, or is it saying Velma wouldn't be the type of person that would flaunt herself in a bikini?
For me, there's a little bit of contrast here. Like, we talked about the Fred holding hands with Daphne, and then it's like, ooh, look at this hot counselor. Then we also have, is Velma getting some empowerment because this person's just called her beautiful, or is it that we're now ridiculing her for how she dresses in comparison to Daphne? And it's just like, okay, I see some confusion here.
But they don't animate Daphne in a bikini the way they animate Jessica in a bikini. I feel like they're two distinctly different things. And I don't know. And it's like, I think even Smash was saying this at the start of the Abracadabra episode, that they go through some, like, this is like a bit of an era where they try and make things a bit more sexy. Is that the word?
Yeah.
There's like a booty shot right at the start of Abracadabra, dude. And it's like, I don't quite know why this is happening, to be honest. Like, I don't understand. But again, it's fun, and I do like Daphne's bikini a lot. I feel like they keep it just simple and sweet. I don't like Velma's costume because, for one, why is it not orange? Like,
that's a really good question.
Yeah, why? And like, did she borrow it? I don't understand. It should have either been red or orange, and I kind of feel like I don't know what they were doing. They just maybe. They wanted her in a red bikini, and like some producer just said, "Oh well, Velma's not like that. Just stick her in some random costume," and they just threw together a costume last minute.
I don't know if it's because red would have been too similar to the hot counselor, and they were like, "Let's make her just look plain. We don't want to like have any connotations of anything."
I don't know. Orange would have done well, but then I feel like the way that they've animated these, I think they've made the characters look quite tanned. So maybe an orange swimsuit would look a bit like she had nothing on or something. Regardless.
It moves on to another scene that I quite like, which is when Scooby and Shaggy were fishing, they catch Fred. Like, again, it's just a little detail where I just think that they just add a few things in throughout this movie where it's just like, oh yeah, that makes it more entertaining. That's a nice reference. It doesn't feel rushed in any way. Like, when we read the back of the box today and it was like, yeah, this is like 70 minutes. It just felt like it's so much longer because I feel like they took their time with some things.
Yeah.
Here's the thing where I feel like they did make a little mistake though. I feel like we've spoken about Jessica quite a lot on their introduction, obviously. After this, if anyone has something else to say about them. But it goes to Fred kind of like ogling this lady in the bright daytime, to then a split second later it's like the noon setting. And it's like, obviously they've been out there for a day, but like what happened to Jessica? Was there like a massive time jump? So I don't quite know what happened there. But I mean, did anyone have any initial thoughts about Jessica's character? Like, are we suspicious? Do we like them? Do we dislike them?
I'm very meh on her. Like, this is where I feel like it's one of those, oh, we have to include another girl for, you know, either Daphne, or I guess another character for either Daphne or Fred to, you know, googly eyes all over. But with this one, I get so confused because Fred's like in this conflict of, oh my gosh, she's so pretty, but then at the same time, I'm supposed to suspect you because you're part of Big Moose and whatever. And so I'm just like, what is the role of Jessica? Is she supposed to be this cute lady for Fred, or is she supposed to be a suspect for us? I don't understand it. Like, overall though, I do like her character as she is. Like, I think Jessica as a character is fun. I just don't like the interactions with Fred and her.
Yeah, I agree with everything you've just said there. I think, like you said, it's kind of like, is it that she's supposed to just be this character, like, that she's this cute character for Fred? Is it that they're trying to do the standard dynamic where it's like, you know, either Fred or Daphne needs to be jealous, but it's like you've just taken a step forward with them two with the hand-holding thing? Like, do we need to change that now? Is it a suspect, but then we're about to see that they rule out quite quickly that it's probably not? Like, okay, I don't... They're there. I'm not really suspicious of them.
Yeah.
I just think that they're there to just do the standard story thing where Fred and Daphne get jealous.
Well, it's just awful, isn't it? Because I think it happens too often at this point, and I guess it can get endearing. But at this point, like Fred literally spends every day with Daphne, and why is he focusing on this person? Like, could you imagine spending every day with Daphne? It'd be like one of the best things in the world, and he just doesn't see it.
Sure it would be,
I don't know
maybe.
why. I don't know why he doesn't see it.
Maybe because he's not living in your brain.
He should be. He could learn a few
So then
things.
Scooby goes like snorkeling off the boat. One thing I think JayBee picked up on here is he goes so far underwater that water will be getting in the top of the snorkel, and it's like, okay.
Okay, here's
That kind of doesn't work.
Here's another thing, and I feel like this is just me. Maybe I've got cabin fever. Maybe I'm just being weird. But like, I almost got the vibe in like my headcanon here that Shaggy was trying to make moves on Daphne. Because when do we ever not see Shaggy and Scooby together? And in this instance, Shaggy's just like, oh, Scooby, I think it's time for you to go scuba diving now. Go on then.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, maybe
the
it's
only other
true.
time we see that's Mystery Incorporated, and what
Yeah.
time frame's this in comparison?
Maybe it's in a different time. Well, I think in terms of timeline, maybe it's similar because... No, I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of Phantosaur, which is the next one, but Fred specifically says in that movie that he failed a school project and he has to redo it. So if we're assuming this is before Phantosaur, he's still at school, so maybe that's Mystery Incorporated time.
I think, were the two kind of televised at the same time?
I think Smash said that they were, but I don't know.
Yeah, so I guess maybe there's something that was like linked there. One thing that I did like and it did intrigue me, was that there was the town under the lake. That was a bit like, I like this plot. Like, so we've watched a couple of things. Again, I don't know how familiar like everyone is with this. The first one is Ghost Whisperer. It was something that Jennifer Love Hewitt did, and basically there'd been an accident and they'd rebuilt a town on top of the old one.
Oh, Buffy.
Yeah, the same with Buffy. There was like a town, there was like some buildings underneath, they just built on the top. Even in The Mystery Begins, they build on top of the skull. So it's just something that's been done that I've seen before that I really like. So it's just like, okay, they could do something good with this. I'm quite happy.
I think that Ghost Whisperer was awful though. Well, no, I liked it until I saw Buffy, and then I realised, yeah, you could do like a serialised thing that was good. But it just, are there places like this in real life that are just like, oh, here's this town and it was built over this one, and if you go this way you can still see some of the remnants? Because I feel there must be, but then...
The only thing that I know personally, and it's not even to that extent at all, but there's a lake by where I live, it's called Sand Hollow, and not too long ago, they discovered that I want to say it's a bus. There's a bus at the bottom of the lake, and they're like, obviously they've kind of made it this tourist attraction of like, go scuba diving, go check out this bus and whatever. But it was just like so random. Like, how the flip did this bus get down there?
Yeah, that is quite random.
I guess supposedly the most known instance of that is supposedly Atlantis is knocking about somewhere. But
yeah, the lost city of Atlantis.
That'll be Venice one day though, won't it? Unfortunately, Venice is just going to disappear one day, and like in X amount of generations it's just going to be a diving site, which is unfortunate. But I think they're working on saving it at the moment. God knows how long it'll take to sink. But it is a cool premise. So is this now the introduction of the fish man?
It is, yeah.
Yes.
I think this was a really fun scene. Just everyone's reaction to the fish man, where they were going, "Oh, fish man," and then they had like, this moment where they were just screaming the word fish man.
I will admit that they need to get a bit more creative with the names.
Fish man.
A woodman with an axe, a fish man in the water. So, okay.
Yep.
They shake up the scene a bit with like, what is it? The
Spectre.
Yeah, the Spectre or the Wraith. I think it's like. But I guess it does fit in with the thing. Like, if you think all stories come from somewhere, but if it was just like camp stories, like camp scares, they would go with like the simplest thing possible. It was just something that counselors told kids, something that they would have to understand. Like, that we live right next to a beach here, and if we had like some kids over that we were trying to scare, it'd be, "Oh, have you heard about like the serpent of the sea?" or something, and that would be
you want to stop them like getting in danger. You don't want them to like wander off to the water without you or something. It's not
going to be like, "Oh, here's Chargar Gothica," and it's like some massive thing. Yeah.
But like, again, that kind of, the threat of that increases quite quickly when they like get thrown off the top of the dam. A few issues there in that the boat would break. It was quite a substantial drop and not one of them are injured. The boat jet propels across the land and into a cabin and stuff, and there's no effect. There's just a couple of things, but it's like, if you're not judging it too realistically, then it's still entertaining.
And there's this boy now, isn't there? Everyone's noticed that this deacon boy is absent, and then they just see him, he's just eating some ice cream. But I mean, it is what it is. Obviously that will materialise. But then I think this sheriff comes back, this pervert.
Yeah.
And he is genuinely stupidly unlikable in this scene. Like, Velma like tries to contribute to the conversation, and he just turns around and goes, "Oh, why didn't you just stick to like stood there looking pretty and stuff?" And it's like,
yeah, Velma says something trying to scare them away. So again, it's like, you know, she's the brain, she's on top of it, and he just tries to like shut her down with a compliment, like, "Oh, you know,
well, it's not a compliment. He's being a misogynistic pig. He's a pig. He's a pervert, and I don't like it. And I bet he stinks. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
It's certainly very unlikable.
Like, when did this movie come out? Because I'm sure that by anyone's standards, what he says in that scene instantly makes him a very unlikable person. It's 2010, so Milly, what was feminism like in 2010?
I was 12. I don't really know.
Did you get good jobs?
Yes.
Did you get?
I'm gonna say that maybe they're just playing on the vibe that she's that, and as we see from Daphne's initial reaction, that Daphne's very much in the spotlight when it comes to men. She's not used to the attention, so it's kind of like maybe he's just playing a game of, you know, if it's known that she's the brains and stuff like that, can enough compliments distract her from the fact that it's not good?
When is Daphne ever seen as an attractive woman in the confines of these movies? Because every other guy that Fred meets, he's like, oh yeah, she's really good. And then like a few occasions, like there's this occasion, and then I think in the next movie there's like someone that's like obviously interested in Velma. And then it's like, well, for all Daphne is set up to be like the attractive one, the pretty one, I don't know.
There's a lot. Like, Aloha Scooby Doo, isn't there like an entire barbecue of men just surrounding her and Fred turns red in the face?
Right? Legend of the
Yeah,
Vampire.
that was the vampire one.
Okay, there's that one occasion, but then maybe like they tried to go, oh no, we need to make Daphne not this because it's aged badly from the original show, so we'll just completely remove it. I mean, the next instance is just, what is it? It's maybe you've got
Music of the Vampires coming up.
And she kind of gets like a forced wedding there. Other than that, it's all the spotlight has been on either other girls that Fred's met or Velma. So hashtag justice for Daphne in the comment section.
Okay, so then the next scene is that the counsellor comes into the camp.
Yeah, he's a pervert, isn't he? But a good thing comes from that, and I really like it. And it's when Fred's making all the plan, for all he feels miserable because I don't think this is the experience he wanted, but if you notice, he wanted to be the boy's hero. He wanted to be the kid's hero. And when he's mentioning his plan, the boy makes a conscious effort to mirror Fred's body language. Like, I think Fred has like his arms folded after telling the plan. The kid looks there, he does like one pose, and then he notices Fred, and then quickly like changes it to like an arms folding.
Yeah,
thing.
them two's sweet. That's a relationship I like a lot.
And it is fantastic, and I do like to see it. But then it's Fred's plan now to like rig the whole base with traps, so if someone comes in to try and mess things up, they're going to be caught. So lo and behold, they trap Jessica.
Yeah. Then it's like, oh, and then the Woodman turns up, so it's like, oh, well, she's innocent. They tried to make us suspect her for all of 5 minutes, so.
This is another kind of like weird Fred moment, or like not misogynistic moment, but like a weird harassy moment where like it's like, oh, that's not the Woodsman, that's the gorgeous camp counselor from Big Moose, and it's like, would you get away with saying that?
Well, I'm saying that Daphne puts up with far too much.
Like,
true.
Like, it's every other movie. There's like another woman for him, and then it's just like, you know what? Just go at this point.
she should have just gone for that Ricky at the start of Monster of Mexico.
Oh yeah.
That was Daphne's one true love, and she passed up on him. Look at that. She was just there stroking the screen. We should get Ricky back. That's the only way Fred can pay.
At this point, Lester's a better option. At least their only competition's then some aliens. Like,
Did they
it's not
on you?
it's not a new one in every movie.
Well, I don't know. Lester could get about.
Okay, so the Woodman appears. They kind of chase them down and like completely trash the camp. I started to get suspicious of the 3 children at this point, that all 3 of them slept through it. And in a minute, we're about to see the Spectre introduced as well, and then it's like there's 3 villains, there's 3 kids, and they all slept through the
I
thing.
didn't think about that.
I'm starting to think that there's like each one of those is one of the villains. So that entered my head at that point.
Oh my gosh. That's actually really good, because if you think about it, if like, and obviously this is like taken into account different things, maybe the kids, I don't know, like they have archetypes, don't they? There's an athletic one that would do good stuff as like the Woodsman that had to use like physical brute force. There's the kind of like almost, I want to say, gothic girl that would be into like spooks and specters. They would know a lot about like kind of
But then
folklore.
the ill one doesn't seem that they'd do anything, right?
But is that so? Because I'm almost thinking that the inhaler thing could be almost a connection or a parallel to like oxygen. So maybe there's some like scuba tank and it would react that way. Like, I don't know. It's a good theory. One I've just like you've just reminded me of, but that's actually ridiculous. But again, Daphne kind of gets a moment at the end of this where it's Daphne that swoops in to save people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And though it isn't just Daphne's bikini in this, there's the shorts as well.
Oh, for goodness.
And I'm on simp overload right now. I can't even.
Please, right? Can you hear yourself? Like, a policeman calls Velma beautiful, and you're starting a petition to have him cancelled. Daphne's wearing shorts, and you're there like, it's the best thing in the world.
I'm so excited I can't even talk right now. No, look, the sheriff is a pervert, and you can't tell me differently.
They're certainly suspicious. I wouldn't go as far as to say they're a pervert. So then they go to Camp Big Moose. They kind of break off into teams, and the first one goes to explore under the water, which I was quite looking forward to because, like I said, that's one of the plot lines that I really like. They meet the water monster under there and have a fight, but like this is another one where it's like, okay, there's a really nice moment for Fred and Daphne here, you know, when she's like trying to save him, so she gives up her oxygen tank and then they're like sharing one, and it's just like, okay, they're looking after each other, this is quite sweet. They had the hand holding thing, and then it's like, oh yeah, Jessica's still there though, isn't she?
Technically though, as I used to go scuba diving, it's a thing, another thing that I can't do for like brain reasons, although I'm gonna do it one day regardless. I'm gonna do it, but it's something that I'm not supposed to do. But these regulators come with an extra one of these oxygen things, and so for all I don't blame Fred for sharing his oxygen thing, he didn't need to, because there's like actual protocols for that type of situation, and that's my one moment of knowledge over.
I just think it still made them look sweet, but then it's kind of like, if you're contrasting that with him drilling every 2 minutes because there's another person there, it loses some of its sincerity.
One up on one, doesn't he? Because like there's a moment where they both resurface and Daphne just goes like to Jessica when Fred's like, and it was all thanks to Daphne. So there definitely is that rivalry going on there, but then it doesn't materialize. Like Daphne is actively jealous of Jessica and is like mimicking her, like making faces at her, but there's no resolution. Like,
I don't think either of them should be interested. Fred's literally just flipping between the two of them so much. It's just like you should both just walk away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it's kind of ridiculous.
But yeah, like you said, they come out of the water and they found that cave, which just to kind of wrap up on what we see there, they like stumble across some dynamite and they're like, "Oh, what do we need that for?"
Yeah, and I feel like dynamite's a bit of a dark topic, right? Like it's like a full-on explosive, it's dangerous. But even like the most universally family-friendly Scooby stuff has dynamite in. Like I think at the end of Chill Out, dynamite was what like Dr. Octopus was using to dislodge the crystals, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was there something in Alien Invaders as well when they were like trying to expand on the caves in there?
I'm not sure, but I think so. I don't know though. I forgot.
But yeah, like we said, it was the first team that's exploring under the water. The second one was in the dining hall, where we literally just see a food fight.
Yeah.
I feel like
And the young guy, the like allergy like inhaler one was with them.
Deacon.
Yeah, I don't know the names of any of the children. I don't know why.
There's Deacon, there's someone.
Luke. Deacon, Luke, and...
I must have written it
Give me
down
2
somewhere.
seconds. Trudy.
Trudy. I very much feel though that the Shaggy and Scooby scene was very unnecessary, But they kind of gave Velma the boring team, but with Shaggy and Scooby they wanted a bit of filler, but then they wanted to get them over to Velma's team as soon as possible to like give that team a bit of excitement.
Yeah. And so Velma's team's going to Shadow Canyon, where they're trying to find the hidden RV, which I really like how that was hidden. I think they did a good job of that. That was an interesting plot as well.
Yeah, this scene just annoys me a bit. Like, I was never bored in the movie, but at this stage, I'm like, oh, this is just one ghost too many now. Like, I just couldn't be bothered with it. Like, I was happy with the two that we had, and this third one appearing was like, oh gosh, okay, this is happening. And it,
like I said, I saw some plot point with it, that there was 3 children, there's 3 kind of things, maybe, you know, it's 1 each.
Yeah, but at that point, it's like, if they're all there, they're all kind of present, aren't they? But even then, I'm like, I don't know, it makes sense. Maybe this one just felt a bit too last minute, but I don't know. Which was the best one, though? See, it's a bit, I don't know if this is psychological, if it's just me, but Camp Scare is like marketed as, here's the Woodsman. Like, I'm looking at the poster now, the DVD, and the Woodsman is the one lurking over them. And so the introduction of the Fishman and the kind of shrieking Wraith, the Banshee, was just a bit like, well, they're not the main one, are they? It just seems like the sidekicks, and that's fine for something like Cyber Chase, where the Phantom Virus is the consistent like danger throughout the whole movie, and they will occasionally need sidekicks, or they'll need like to assemble a team, and that's really nice. But like, it's either then, like, these other characters don't really seem like anything more than sidekicks, and that doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't really make me compelled, because if it was going to be the 3 kids, then one of them would have to have been the clear leader, and obviously you assume that that's going to be like the Fred one, but at the same time, you very much get the vibe that they're learning, they're definitely looking up to Fred, and so if they're wanting to learn how to be a leader, they're probably not at the stage where they can like lead a group of people in like a conspiracy to steal something or to get something. So this was just one too many for me. But what did you think, Smash, about the introduction of this Spectre?
Yeah, that's, I don't know. To me, the Spectre felt like an afterthought almost. And I kind of agree. Like, to me, this movie is like the Woodsman's movie, you know, for villain. But I don't really care about the fish freak dude either. His scene though that we just had was cool, I guess, because it was a bit more intense, you know, with like Daphne and Fred having to share oxygen suddenly and whatever. But that's, I just feel like overall it's like they introduce these other 2 villains and then they're almost forgotten about the rest of the movie. It's like, you know, oh, we just need something to attack them while they're outside of camp, but obviously it can't be the Woodsman. So I don't know. I don't really care for them, to be honest, and I oftentimes forget about them.
Yeah,
it's a bit ridiculous, and even here's what I think that they maybe should have done. But again, I know that there's going to be people that are thinking that I'm biased or I'm just a weirdo. But I almost feel like the perfect antagonist could have almost have been the Ranger, because we know that it's them, and the best way to put blame on someone else for like doing stuff is if he just went, isn't it suspicious that like when 3 like monsters have showed up, that a group of people coincidentally like showed up at around a similar time, so then they make it their business to kind of stalk Mystery Inc. to disrupt their investigations, a bit like a more brutal like Sheriff like Stone, or even like the sheriff from Halloween, Return to Zombie Island, and all that, to have then almost then acted as like a bit of a villain in that regard, as opposed to maybe like 2 more side monsters. But then I don't know how that would have gone if, like, I guess people prefer seeing monsters chase them than actual people, but I'd rather them just have had the Woodsman and maybe the Fishman, and then maybe made the sheriff a bit more present, as opposed to just showing up, making the odd remark, and then going off until their big reveal.
I guess what I would have liked is, instead of like making all these monsters or something, is they kind of did it in Abracadabra Do, but make it a bit more conspicuous. But just like when they are away from camp, have like someone watching them. Like, don't make it the Woodsman, because then it's just like, oh well, why isn't he attacking or something? But just like have this figure that's just kind of out watching them, and we never really know who it is until the end or whatever, because then it's like, at least there's eyes watching them, but there's not just all these monsters suddenly appearing wherever they go.
Yeah, I mean, the villain in this must have an incredible costume department, because it's like within 10 minutes of a villain been introduced with a camp story, like as soon as they've been sat and heard like one of these tales of how the camp was targeted by the Fishman, the Woodman, 10 minutes later they've got a fully created costume that's compatible with underwater swimming and diving, and you can be down there without oxygen. Literally 10 minutes later it's there. Yeah, it's done. It's like,
were they spying on that camp counselor as well?
How do they know? Because isn't it that the ranger, the kind of police person, was in the outfits at the end, right?
Yeah.
So how is it that they managed to hear the conversation of the Fishman, be in the outfit 10 minutes later?
And Shaggy's like, like the guy, if you've got any more scary campfire stories, just keep them to yourselves.
Yeah.
It was like, if he'd told another one, would they then have another one?
Yeah, is it just like the more you go, the longer this is going to take? Maybe that's a way of trying to get them to leave camp. I don't know, it's weird.
It is a bit like scary stories to tell in the dark, isn't it? Because in that movie, they read the story and it comes to life. You know what? Maybe this movie would have even benefited from being supernatural. I know there's a little hint about it, but like, just that kind of a thing, like stories come from somewhere, sometimes they're real. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm a bit lost actually. Wow.
As far as I can see, they're about to go and speak to the creepy guy and ask about the history.
What, Lester?
Yeah, the Lester.
Oh, got a little...
And he's about to kind of go into the story about how they had the money, it was hidden under the town, and before they had a chance to get to it, it was flooded, they were sent to prison and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, and then we also learn a bit later on about this baby-faced Beretti who escaped jail.
And then they realise that the dynamite is because the dam has to be blown apart. Then they have to rush back, don't they? Because they think that that if it's known that they've left, then they're gonna blow the dam. But the children were still in the huts. Is that correct?
Yeah, but the thing is that I like the story so far. I love everything that they've done. I just don't think that they've done what they wanted to do in terms of stuff, because they have this moment where you've got who's the kid's name? The asthma kid. Is it Deacon? Yeah. So Deacon is there going, oh, I think we should leave. I think we should run away. And all the other kids are like, no, I'm not going to leave because I'm like part of this Little Moose group. And then everyone's like, yeah, we're all part of Little Moose. But at no point do I get the vibe that they've learned that. Maybe the Fred kid, because he's Maya's Fred now. But the other kid, what's the name? Trudy?
Yeah, she was so happy when they went to Camp Big Moose.
I was like, there's cute boys, there's nice facilities, there's good food. Why the heck why don't I go here? And absolutely nothing happens between that time and the other time, except for being chased by a siren or something, like, to change their mind. And it's like, you can have these really nice moments, and it was touching for what it was, but I just feel like it wasn't an earned moment. Like, it didn't feel like there were these different characters that had come together out of friendship, out of love, out of anything apart from just this is where the story needs to be at this time because the movie is nearly over.
Yeah. So then we
I feel like
No, sorry, after you.
just gonna say, I really like till this point. Then it just, unfortunately, I mean, I still like how the movie goes, but I just feel like starting here, I almost think they kind of realize like, oh crap, like we gotta finish this up and rushed a little bit here.
Yeah, it's very like, okay, we need to wrap this up by any means necessary. Mystery Machine, you can now float. You can turn into a boat.
Yeah,
It's like
Yep.
it's like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's like, okay, well, it's now on the road. Let's turn it into a boat, and next we're gonna see it fly.
You can fly. It's like your all-purpose vehicle. Although good, reliable Mystery Machine, it's great like that. One day I'm gonna buy one. Today is not that day though. It's just, I don't know, it's nice to see the Mystery Machine being used, because I feel like it's been quite absent, because obviously they've only gone to one location. But it surprises me that, like, there was no type of, not ingenuity, but subtle reference or over-the-top reference. Like, they never had, like, a Mystery Inc., you know, boat, or a Mystery Inc., Mystery Machine, like, canoe. And like even in stuff like Sword and the Scoob and the moon buggy from Cyber Chase, they always kind of try and do cool things with that pattern and that design. That when they're in this situation now, it's a bit of a shame that there wasn't a camp vehicle.
You know, Fred painted it that way when he was at the camp, and it was still there, and they found like his old artwork, like this old boat that he painted, and that's their escape route.
It would have been great to have that backstory because we hear about Fred's memories there, but it would have been almost interesting. In fact, you know what, they should have made this even more about Fred. I'm gonna say, like, it would have been emotional from Fred's point of view to maybe go to one of the old cabins that he used to stay in and go, oh, here's a fun fact, like I wrote my name on, like I engraved my name on the floor here. Or even make a little connection with Jessica. They could have had a backstory almost, like, oh, we were best friends at Little Moose, but then this happened, or we knew each other back then, but there was some like complications. That would have almost been better, because then there would have been
like
a reason,
a camp battle or something.
Why, yeah, there was a reason why Fred was gravitated towards her, as opposed to just, oh, look here, she rocks up looking like she's part of a Special K advert, and now he's just googly eyed. But yeah.
Okay, so then
if they would have done something like that, I would have loved to hear the story too. Then of like why Jessica went to Big Moose or something, you know?
Yeah, and I think with the movie being 69 minutes, they had time to go a bit further.
A bit, yeah.
Like I'd say 90 minutes for a Scooby movie is quite good.
Yeah, if they didn't have.
So if they wanted to, they could have had some time there. So now we are starting to get to the reveal. So JayBee.
What reveal? Oh, of the people. So
yeah, like we're starting to wrap. Well, we're not getting to the reveal. We're not there yet. There's more. Like obviously they're running to Jessica here and stuff, but
yeah. So they do whatever they do. The underwater town gets revealed after the explosion, but I get a bit confused because, oh gosh, where are we? Because I think the treasure. Wait, okay, where are we? The water drains. No, yeah, the water drains. They go to the city to explore it. They run into Jessica, who says that she's there because she followed Deacon. And then they go into this building that Deacon summons them into. And this is where Deacon traps them.
Yeah.
And reveals that the real identity of Deacon is this baby-faced Beretti. And I almost feel like this is a bit too dark, right? Because I always gravitate towards the nerdy character, the outcast, the outlier, the one that doesn't seem like they would fit in, or the one that's a bit socially awkward. And to have this kind of likable underdog then be revealed to be like this nefarious person, I'm kind of like, as a kid, that would have probably genuinely upset me. And so I don't know, like, what's everyone's opinion about that reveal? Because I think that is maybe just a step too far, but I'm weird.
I think I don't know, I quite like it. I think it's really nice that there was one that had a bit more thought to it. Like, I know I go back to this one as an example a lot, but Chill Out Scooby Doo, it was a case of, well, if it's not you, and it's not you, and it's not you, and it's not you, and it's not you, you're left. It's you. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this is more, okay, there's thought to it. We've been told there's this baby face person. We're looking at the younger audience. We've been narrowing it down throughout. 3 characters. Is that 3 campers? We know that the kind of police officer person was a bit suspicious. But if it's baby face, maybe we're looking at the younger ones. There was more of a thought process there, which I enjoyed working through.
I really like with this one. This one quite a bit to Zombie Island in just kind of atmosphere. I mean, they are obviously a bit different. Zombie Island's dealing with supernatural, and this one's not. But I feel like this is how you do like a dark Scooby Doo without supernatural. Is like, you know, make the villain like an actual like criminal that's out there and, you know, running away and stuff, and then, you know, he used it to his advantage, like these stories or whatever, and, you know, is like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna trick you into helping me figure out where this treasure is. Oh, but plot twist, I'm this axe murderer that you should have paid attention to the old Lester guy telling you about. And I mean, were there signs in the movie for the audience to pick up on? I feel like there's very, very little signs for it, but I feel like there was enough that, you know, when you rewatch it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can kind of, you know, pick up on that, but at the same time, it wasn't yelling at your face, so that the initial reveal is like, what? Excuse me, you know, because as soon as he switches his voice, it's just like, excuse me, that should not be coming out of your body.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I guess we're seeing the villain as like the woodman, the fishman. So like, we're like, no, can't be you, because we've seen these characters and you've been there straight afterwards. That's not right. Well, obviously, like, we go on to find out more. So
see, rewatching this, it almost just disturbs me knowing that there's like a grown adult criminal like sharing bunks with children.
Yeah, true.
This is a quite a dark horror movie that I'm about to make a reference to now.
Oh no, I know what you're gonna say. Is it that one with the little girl?
Yeah.
Oh, don't do it.
Have you heard of a movie called The Orphan Smash?
Don't listen to this, anyone watching. Like it's
yeah. Anybody watching this, please don't watch it. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. It's absolutely awful.
Actively, it takes me to dark places. I can't stand it.
Have you heard of it?
I don't think so.
It's okay. So there's this person with a condition where they look like a child. So they keep getting adopted into people's houses.
Bloody hell.
And stuff happens and it's just not good.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad. But yeah, I guess what JayBee was saying about it being dark, with how, you know, they could present a different identity and come across as a child, like, yeah, there's a horror movie waiting to happen in that. I've watched it. There's a horror movie.
This Scooby movie, again, I mean, you know, we did like an Instagram live a little bit ago and talked about this movie, but I mean, yes, you know, if you really start to think about it, like stuff like that, it's like, you know, that's a little okay, but I just feel like this is like the perfect way to do horror for Scooby Doo without, you know, making it like PG-13 or making it too much for adults, you know, where it's like enough that like kids aren't gonna overthink it or, you know, notice a lot, but if you're an adult watching, you can really enjoy it.
Yeah, as an adult, you understand some threats in this that children aren't going to understand. Like, children can see it. They can see it's a Scooby movie. They can see that it's maybe one step up, but nothing too, like, sinister. Whereas, like we're saying, if you review this as an adult and you're starting to talk about issues like that, it's like, oh gosh, this is far worse than we probably realised on our first watch through of this. Like, say, like, for you who'll have seen this when it first came out, I imagine that watching it now, you can maybe see some elements to it that you're like, oh, I didn't realise how bad that was.
And goodness knows how, like, angry and, like, kind of nervous a parent would get watching this if they send their kids to summer camp. Like, because I don't know, like, you just must get so creeped out that someone could, like, do that. And it's like, nah.
Yeah, especially when there's only 3 people. Like, there was more adults there than children. Surely you can monitor this stuff if there's so many of you there.
It's just crazy. It really is, especially like what Smash was saying, when you hear like the voice change, it's jarring to say the least. But then you get there's like a confrontation. I think it's between the Woodsman and Fred protecting Jessica. And all I've written in my notes was like, there's a scene where Jessica's like dangling from the roof, and I'm just let her go, Fred. You can do better. Just let her drop. But then Jessica is saved and she kisses Fred's cheek, which is kind of sweet, right? But again,
at this point, it's just like, we've worked on him and Daphne so much in this movie. Don't cloud it, please.
I don't know. I just don't think they want to commit to them in like the movies. I don't know if that's. I mean, say this was released in 2010, and they were holding hands in 2010. We're now sat here at 2021 with no real progression from that. They were engaged in Mystery Incorporated, but again, that was around about 2010-ish.
I mean, in this time, the like live action Daphne and Fred have like got married. They've had children. Like, you know, Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. have like, you know, had a full relationship and weddings and everything. Yeah. And like cartoon Daphne and Fred are still been here for like, how many years of it is it of Scooby Doo? Is it 60s?
Well, they had what of the whole show?
Yeah, the show started in.
Well, they celebrated the 50th of about 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah. So like 50 something years. 52 years. Yeah. And they've reached hand holding.
Yeah, they got there. Well, actually, oh my gosh, that's kind of weird to say, but in the confines of the animated series, if you think about it, I'm sure Shaggy made more progress than Fred.
That is correct, yeah.
Well played. Oh, well played. That's kind of good, though. So what do we have now? You're just reading my notes. I know you are, because you've seen that I've written horrific things that I'm not repeating. So stop looking at my notes. Just continue with your notes. Stop looking at my notes.
Jessica had been hanging off the roof.
Yeah, let her drop there. And then Shaggy releases people, so that's kind of nice. I like that a lot. Shaggy's useful. But then the second everyone's released, this fish man appears, but the treasure is revealed. And here's my confusion. Is the treasure hidden literally the second the town starts sinking, or not? Because you reveal the treasure by shining sunlight onto the top of a chapel, and it reveals a part in the wall, the floor, or the grounds that the treasure's hidden. But if the town had never sank, literally every day the treasure would be exposed. So did the person dive down to hide the treasure? In which case, Babyface Barretti or the sheriff could have dived down themselves, or what? It's a bit confusing.
Maybe it's too deep to dig, especially underwater.
What are you digging? You're diving.
Yeah, but the sun wouldn't reflect on the chapel while it was underwater. So you'd have to dig once you got down there.
No, but did the person that hid it, were they banking on the fact that it would be so difficult to be revealed? If you get me, or
there must have been.
Yeah, all this. That's just my confusing. Because if I'm gonna hide something I don't want people to see, the last thing I want is this massive thing to shine on it every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it is what it is. Yeah, there's something I can't say there. Oh my gosh! And then Scooby goes mad in the mystery machine to get rid of the fish man. I think he goes crazy. He like gets in there and literally starts mowing the fishman down. And that was kind of good to see, because you don't often see Scooby in that action role, do you?
No.
But there they are, just defeating the fishman. So now we kind of get the unmasking. And the unmasking is that so they unmask the fishman, and that's revealed to be the woodsman. They unmask the woodsman, and that's the pervert. So then they go into the explanations, and we get things, right? Like I don't know. I feel that I was already so negatively inclined toward the sheriff that I kind of felt less impacted by that reveal. Like I was kind of still like shocked over the babyface Beretti thing. That I think it would have been a bit better if they revealed the sheriff when they revealed babyface, and maybe they left the babyface reveal till the last one, because it was like, oh my god, like we never expected this, and then just oh yeah, okay, I guess this guy's evil as well.
He was suspicious from the start. Like he was trying to get rid of them from the start. Like, this is evil. We don't want to scare you kids, but this is the case. Like, and then Velma's like, I think someone's behind it. Oh no, don't worry, beautiful. You just stand there looking pretty. Like, clearly she knew. And he was just trying to keep her quiet.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
But yeah, I didn't like him from the start. It was good that there was an unmasking, but it's kind of like, could it have been done differently if we'd have just gone with the babyface character that they'd been setting stuff up? So the stolen RV, are we saying that was babyface waiting to get into the camp when his slot opened?
I got that vibe, yeah, because he was the one like, oh my gosh, like maybe we should get out of here, but I'm not too sure. They never really say that though, do they? They don't say anything. Nothing useful is said in that moment.
I mean, Smash, did you see that as babyface's place? Did you see it as the sheriff's place?
How I've kind of saw it is because, Babyface was at the camp, more. And it almost seemed like maybe Babyface was wearing something, and then the ranger sheriff dude was in the RV, like doing all this tracking and whatever with whatever hooked up to the Babyface dude. Because we see Babyface a lot more, sheriff, and like it almost seems like whenever the ranger dude would come into camp, he would like almost come in, like, because we only really see him, interact with Velma, let's be honest here, but, and so it's almost like, I wonder if he had come in to talk to Babyface real quick, and then his excuse was, oh, I'm just checking in on you. Hey, beautiful, ha ha ha. So, I don't know.
And I guess it also seems strange that, like, the two looking for the treasure, so we have the sheriff, like, running around, and also Babyface, that you've literally got a police officer and a criminal. You'd think there'd be bigger underlying issues, like, they both run towards the treasure, and the policeman's instantly like, oh gosh, no, not you, like, you need to be arrested, you need to be in jail, like, bigger issues here. Like, they have pre-existing issues without talking about the treasure that should have maybe been at the forefront.
I just think they should just give the sheriff life in prison at this point for bad decision making all around. Clearly he's not of a sound mind to be in that position.
Yeah.
Send him away. Stick him somewhere. So, is that pretty much it?
That does conclude.
Oh, well, I guess there's this kind of moment where I don't know what to think about this, but Fred goes over to Jessica and says that it will never work because she's Camp Big Moose and he's Camp Little Moose. Not sure that that's a good message to be telling children, because it's like saying, oh, if you're different and I'm different, it's not going to work. You kind of need to find someone exactly the same as you. So they give us the message that they can't be together because she's this and he's that.
When it should be that he's Team Daphne, she's not Daphne.
Well, no, but then in the next few minutes, they have a great idea, and it's about collaborating Big Moose and Little Moose together almost. But then I feel like Big Moose is never given redemption. It's always, you hear from Fred, oh, these are the snobs, they're like good for nothing. and I can't be with Jessica because she's part of that, and yet everyone else is willing to go, okay, let's collaborate the two of them. So it's like, are they just forced to collaborate with bad snobs, or is the message that they're all the same, they're just from different circumstances? Like, I feel like they've literally done something like a Daddy Day Camp situation where they should have gone, look, they're just the posh people, these are the kind of not so posh people. At the end of the day, they're all still human, they can collaborate, they know what's right and what's wrong, and they can work together. And yet the kids are seemingly doing that at the end, and yet Fred, for all he would be making a bit of a bad decision, he can't get past that. It's still very much like, you're this and I'm that, so we can't do anything.
I mean, I think SMASH made the best reference right at the start, which is cheaper by the dozen too. Because it is very much like this is the privileged ones that have everything. This is the ones that are kind of making do with what they've got. The children start to build a connection first. It's the adults that kind of take more time to come round to anything. They are still quite stubborn. But in the end, like, I think it's that one of the daughters goes into labour and they have to carry her to the hospital or something. But in the end, when it comes down to it, they kind of do this team thing that links them together. So, yeah, I think from what JayBee just summarised there, and is pretty much the summary for the plot for Cheaper by the Dozen too. But that is such a good movie. I'm so nostalgic for that right now. JayBee, have you ever seen Cheaper by the Dozen too?
Ages ago. All I can remember from the franchise is there was a moment where the adults were like, oh, we don't like those people, and the kids are like, oh, we're going to help them because we like them. I think that's the movie, or maybe I'm thinking of Are We There Yet, where like there's a boy trying to hit on a girl and the dad's telling him to do the move.
Oh yeah, that's Cheaper by the Dozen too. It's great.
And that's where you yawn in a movie theatre, isn't it?
Yeah, and then the two dads are snooping, and then they like do the move in the cinema, and then one of them's like diving off the balcony, and it's great. I do love that movie so much.
Can you do the move? I can do the move.
It is funny because the dads are sat behind like, did you see that? He just did the move. What's the move? Oh gosh.
So there's the Scooby Woodsman thing that's kind of cute. And then there's a song that plays at the end, which is just, it's like Walking on Sunshine, isn't it?
Yeah, but without the chorus.
I'm walking on sunshine. Oh.
What is that called? That one is called Perfect World.
Yeah, I know. And this is another movie where you can download the album.
Yes.
But then it annoys me because you can download the one for this one and Abracadabra, and yet I can't find a Music of the Vampire album anywhere. So it's like, well...
No, it bugs me so much that the musical movie of Scooby doesn't get an album.
It's
the one that I really, really want is, oh, for goodness sake, what was it called? The one that I really liked for Halloween, that I said was like a Halloween one.
Oh, yeah. Goblin King.
Yeah, that one.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
I honestly just want that CD for Halloween.
Well, I'll get you a...
And then there's like, is there like a bit of a post-credit scene, did you say, where it kind of like...
Yeah, it's almost revealed that this spectre was supernatural.
See, I think, like, that's good because stories have to come from somewhere. There's got to be some inspiration for them, so...
Yeah, like, everything comes from something. And one day we'll all just be stories. And we were real.
I'm waiting for my Camp Scare sequel.
Maybe it'll come out. Let's pray for it. We'll pray for it. And hopefully Jessica's not in it. Hopefully that sheriff isn't in it.
Oh, you could bring back one of the children as like, oh my goodness, the boy that was like Fred could be like, come back as a counselor. That would be so cute. Because then it literally is a, you know, like how JayBee and you were talking about the expressions and how the mirrored expressions, and it's literally like, he came back as a counselor, I'm doing that.
That would actually be really cool.
That'd be cool.
So, I think that summarizes the movie, so...
I mean, Mark Hamill's in the movie, that's literally the last thing I've written.
Is that everything, JayBee?
Who did he play?
I think, was Mark Hamill Babyface Barretti?
Oh wow, and the store owner and Deacon? Okay.
So that's a little cameo there. That's all I've got. That's me.
Anything else to add, Smash, before we go to the verdict?
I mean, there's nothing crazy. This movie, I mean, we kind of talked about the dynamite, but the whole like, oh, dynamite, it's a candle, and then, oh no, that's dynamite, was a reference to Mind Your Own Business, which is an original episode of Scooby Doo, Where Are You? Scott Menville and Tara Strong are both in this movie, which they originally were together in the original Teen Titans series, so this was kind of their first comeback together, you know, in like voice acting and whatever. Which Scott Menville too did Shaggy and Scooby Doo Get a Clue. And then this was the first Scooby Doo movie to release on Blu-ray like the day of release, because a lot of the other ones kind of had Blu-ray releases after the fact, except for the first little bit, the Blu-ray release was exclusive to Walmart here in America.
I was also just taking a look back at last week. You know how, like, in the past, I know we've kind of mentioned, especially JayBee now, that we feel like there's a kind of one-on, one-off with how good a movie is. I feel like last week was a movie that I quite strongly passed.
Oh, that was a bit of an upset though, wasn't it? Because I was convinced that I'd got it right, and then...
Abracadabra, yeah, it was one that I was like really strongly like, I didn't like this one. I feel like this might have been one that I quite strongly do like, and I will admit I'm very scared about next week's one, that it's going to be one that I really don't like, so I do feel like it's fitting in with the pattern.
I mean,
because I do feel like this was...
And yeah, it's interesting.
I do feel like this one, Camp Scare, was like, again, one where it's like, okay, do you know what? This isn't one of our filler ones. This is a clear concept that we've got. We know exactly what we're going for here. This is the kind of opposing camps is a concept that's been run so many times. We know it works. It's going to be great.
Gonna be good. And it was all right. I like it, but I guess on that,
it's time for your verdict, JayBee.
Wait, do I do it first?
You do. So, Scooby Doo Camp Scare, would you smash or pass?
Oh, listen, guys. I'm a simple man.
I was waiting for that.
I see certain things, and I say smash. That's it. No, okay, let me be...
You can't spend this entire episode going, he's a pervert. He said that Velma was beautiful, to then be like, yeah, Daphne.
I'm a simple
smash.
man.
Okay. I am a man of substance, and I will give a proper reason. It was good, and you know what? I feel like it took me back to my own personal childhood about when things were just a little bit darker but have a bit of an edge to it. And it's interesting that Smash mentioned the original Teen Titans, because I feel like that was a show that's similar to this. It very much tread the line between optimistic superhero story and drama and conceptual things. And Daphne wears a bikini, so I'm gonna smash. So, Millie, will you smash or pass Scooby Doo Camp Scare?
Okay, so I think firstly, I think you said it at the start with all the backstories and stuff. As soon as you start to hear this, and Smash said it as well, like, I feel like, you know, it's going to be a good episode. It's one that we're all there with, we're on board with it. And so I think just the start of this in itself, just this episode has made me like this movie even more. I think... Wait,
this Smash or Pass episode?
Yeah, just that how we've all spoken and stuff like that. I think it's made me like the movie even more.
Aren't you amazing?
I really like the premise. It's made me nostalgic for so many other movies, like we were saying, Cheaper by the Dozen 2, Camp Rock, so many other stuff. Like, it's just been like, oh my goodness, I've not watched that for so long. I kind of need to revisit some of this stuff. Yeah, like I said, I think the plot's quite, you know, it's always been done quite well, so it worked and it was good. I also agree with stuff that we're saying, how like this is enjoyable even for older audiences, because you can understand some of the issues in it a little bit deeper and see a new level to it. The ending maybe left me with a few questions. There was like the Fred and the two women thing that I didn't really like either, but ultimately I'm gonna say that this is completely, without a shadow of a doubt, a smash. So, of course, that just leaves the verdict that we want to know the most, which is smash. Would you say smash or pass for Scooby Doo Camp Scare?
Okay, well, I don't have a huge childhood story with this one, to be honest. I remember it coming out, and I wasn't really able, like, I got it the day of release, but wasn't able to watch it until, like, I was about to go to bed, you know, because it's like, oh, do your homework first and get your dinner, blah blah blah. And so I did end up watching alone at night in my bed, and it terrified me so bad. I was just like, what did Scooby just do? You know, I'm like, wow, they went, you know, darker with this one, and it was scary. The Woodsman is just creepy. I definitely didn't rewatch this one for a hot minute because it was creepy overall. But then once I was able to kind of push past it and revisit, I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a good one. I feel like such an underrated one outside of the Scooby community, because it's like, you know, a lot of people, whether they're like avid Scooby fans or not, know what Zombie Island is. Like there's no one that you can't talk to that hasn't seen Zombie Island or at least heard of it. And I just feel like this movie needs to be like this new generation Zombie Island. Like, I just feel like it is that good of story, of atmosphere, of, you know, plot twists and stuff that I'm just like, why are we not talking about this one? And like, why has it not become a like traditional summer movie to watch, you know? Like, oh, let's turn on Camp Scare for the summer, a spooky summer movie. And I don't know, I really, really like this one. And so obviously, I gotta say smash with this one. I have been excited to hear your guys' reaction to it, and unfortunately, I feel like this is kind of the peak of darkness that we'll have for Scooby for a while. I mean, there are some other ones that, like, you know, Stage Fright kind of gets creepy and stuff, but I'm holding to it, saying that Camp Scare is this generation's Zombie Island.
I can see that. I think it is iconic within especially the era that we're looking at right now. So it's amazing. That's another one that we all agree on.
Full house. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Like, again, though, we are heading into uncharted territory next week. So next week, correct me if I'm wrong with the title, Scooby Doo and the Legend of the Phantosaur.
Yep.
So uncharted territory certainly for me. JB's seen this one before a couple of times. I don't know why, I'm kind of nervous. I'm feeling quite nervous. But then the music of the vampire literally it's the last one I've seen up until Sword and the Scoob. So
all right.
It is. We're like heading into completely.
Yeah. Like I've seen Phantosaur recently. It wasn't a childhood one. The last childhood one was like Samurai Sword. So all this is mainly childhood territory. Like I've never seen these as a kid, but I don't know. I'm excited for the 2 coming out, if nothing more than just for the conversation that we're gonna have for the next one. But Music of the Vampire is gonna be great. I really want to like make it as a musical. Like I just want to sing my review. I don't know why. I won't, but I want to, and I want you to know this. I'll probably sing my verdict. But yeah, that is a full house, and I'm happy with that, because I literally did feel like I got it so wrong last time, because I was like, oh, I like this one, this is good, so I'll smash this one. I thought Milly was, I don't know, I was a bit sad. But this time I'm very happy. I feel like I'm on the right track.
I mean,
like I've
you keep saying that you've still not forgiven me for casting Aloha. He keeps saying like, when this is all done, we're revisiting that one. We're redoing it, and you're gonna say smash them.
No, we're not. Well,
I don't think I am.
I don't know if we'll do a revisited thing, like at the end of everything, or if we'll do like a collaborative tier list. Probably not. I don't know what we're doing. I don't like to think
I
about.
feel like that's just so far away. Like, we know the movies take us up until the end of this year, and then it's like, what do we do with episodes and stuff? So it's a long way.
But it's good. It's good. It's not. It wouldn't be nice if we only had 2 more weeks of things, because then what would there be to look forward to? Oh my gosh, this is mad. But yeah, I guess in terms of wrapping things up, I've got some Smash or Pass news to tell people. Minor things. So, one being, very soon we're gonna have a new intro. It's gonna look amazing. I've already shared like I've sent Smash some like screenshots and stuff. I think it looks gorgeous.
I'm kind of hoping that it'd be finished for this episode.
I'm hoping so. So maybe people have seen it. I don't want to say too much about it, but there's references to things, and oh my gosh, there's an Easter egg that I've included, and it's a bit cringy. It makes it seem like I'm trying to like it's cringy as heck. Actually, it makes it seem like we're about to celebrate some type of special romantic anniversary with Smash, but like I've included it and I think it's really cute, and I'll say it now. In this new commission, there's a mystery machine to the left hand side of it, and the registration number on the mystery machine is the date that Smash first reached out and spoke to us.
Yeah, you did some letters. It's like Jurassic World Evolution or something with a date on it.
04/11/20. That's the registration number on the mystery machine. And I just think that's just...
JayBee's very good with the cute, emotional, sentimental.
But no one would realise that. They would think it's just for the mystery machine. It's just a number plate. But it isn't. It means something. And I like it. But
yeah.
Hopefully people...
Last We've Seen, that's almost ready. So that could have been the intro to this video.
Also, we did our live stream, our second Scooby live stream. When did we do it? Like Friday night, Saturday morning. And that went really well. There's another one planned for the same time this coming week.
I mean, as of this going out, it'll have been yesterday.
Oh, will it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, sort that then. But there was a giveaway for that. Good luck to people entering that in hindsight. We're giving away 3 of the common werewolves. There's still time to enter. Well, there was still time to enter. But we're willing to give away
This is going well.
Well, no, there should still be another giveaway live. I think there'll be a Playmobil giveaway live at the time that this comes out. But we don't have a stream planned where we'll reveal stuff for that. I think it'll be one of our last Scooby streams, to be honest.
For now.
I've got no ideas. Apart from unboxing 10 of the Space Kook sodas. But I've checked, and the price to import one of them to us will literally be like £24 a piece. And if we were to get 10 of them, that would just be ridiculous.
They'll be released in the UK eventually.
Nothing gets released in the UK eventually. People hate the UK. And I guess it's mad. I guess wider Scooby community news. They've done this collaboration. I don't know much about it except people have been tweeting about it with Pastel Mortar Clothing. I don't know what you've seen of that, Smash. But
I'm gonna be honest. I have taken the last 2 weeks off of everything, so you guys know more than me. I know nothing right now, and it might be a hot minute while I'm sorting out my life, but you guys know more than me for this moment.
I don't think you're missing too much, to be honest. There's some really sick designs, to be honest. If you're a fan of t-shirts, like, and you're a fan of Scooby Doo, you don't want to miss this. Like, this is some great designs. There's a lovely one of Scooby there, with the creeper in the doorway, a gorgeous like purple, almost like Scooby FC one, which was I think both mine and Millie's favourite.
There's one where there's like a ghost coming out of the pocket of a t-shirt as well.
Yeah, it's lovely designs. It's fantastic. I'm kind of put off it just purely from the fact that at this stage in life I just don't wear t-shirts. I can't stand wearing t-shirts out in public or out and about. So if there were some hoodies thrown in, I'd be like full on simping for this line. It is like 5 out of 5, a great clothing line, just not for me personally. Millie, you're probably into this because you like t-shirts, but
yeah, the purple one was nice.
Yeah, and it was like this kind of FC. Well, what else? What else? I guess in terms of that type of news,
I think that's it for Scooby, right?
Oh wait, the voice disconnected. Did it disconnect? It says RTC disconnected. Can you hear us?
I think it did that when we were playing with the coalition. We disconnected and recalled, didn't we?
So do I need to disconnect
Maybe.
and re-record?
Do it.
Hello?
There we go.
I'm
Oh.
sorry, our internet just
I don't
like
know
dropped.
what the heck happened
everything.
there.
Oh shoot.
So I guess
You just finished the t-shirts.
yeah, I just finished community stuff.
Perfect.
And now I'm happy again. I think I've made my peace with the world.
Okay,
Was there anything else that you wanted to speak about, smASH?
Not at the moment.
okay, so I think that does it for this episode. So as we said, next week we are moving on to Scooby Doo and the Legend of the Phantosaur. So again, this one's going to be really interesting because it's a first watch through for me. JayBee only discovered this one like a few weeks ago, and of course we're assuming smASH is going to be our expert and help us out with everything in regards to that movie. So yeah, please make sure to like this video, comment below, and remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you get made aware of that video. That'll be the same time next Saturday.